What's up, everyone? It's the interview queen Alicia Toot here, and be sure to watch Tru Heel Heat.
This is Heavyweight Hustle, Calvin Tankman. Tune in to Tru Heel Heat podcast. You won't be disappointed.
What's up, Tru Heel Heat? Tru Heel Heat.
What's up? Tru Heel Heat.
Yo, what up? You know what it is. It's your boy AJ Francis reporting to you live from New York City, the birthplace of hip-hop. And I'm telling you that I'm only tuned in with Tru Heel Heat Wrestling. Holla at me.
What's going on, everybody? This is your former AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Once a champion, always a champion. Swerve Strickland. Whose house? Swerve's house. You're watching Tru Heel Heat podcast.
It's Saturday, you know what that means. It's time for some Tru Heel Heat. The Saturday morning cookout is in session, and we got a lot to talk about from the world of pro wrestling, coming off the heels of last Sunday's AEW Dynasty, with Tony Khan with another deflating ending to an AEW pay-per-view. Has Tony Khan completely lost the plot? Can the Young Bucks return save this AEW Death Rider story? No, but we're going to still ask that question on today's show. Has WWE saved the WrestleMania 41 card? We'll go over the card that's been breakdown for us last night on SmackDown, as well as go through last night's SmackDown that was pretty uneventful. Not a good week from the top two promotions, but New Japan Pro Wrestling had Windy City Riot last night with Hiroshi Tanahashi's final match in the US of A. We will talk about that for sure. We'll talk some TNA. We'll talk some NJPW, some AEW, and WWE as only we can. And of course, for our members of the channel, we got Q&A following the flagship podcast, so you got a full day of content to enjoy. This is the Tru Heel Heat flagship podcast. Let's get to it. Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your Tru Heel Phenom SP3. We are live on the Tru Heel Heat YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter for Tru Heel Heat 324 Elite Tone Deaf Writers, discussing the latest wrestling news, including the fallout from the AEW Dynasty main event with the Young Bucks returning, more fallout from Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton's shoot train wreck promo exchange from last Friday, as well as the follow-up on last night's SmackDown, a recap of this week in wrestling with AEW Dynasty. You also had Dynamite with the Young Bucks explaining why they screwed over Swerve Strickland. You also had Collision last Saturday, ROH TV, WWE SmackDown featuring the fallout from the Charlotte and Tiffany train wreck segment, Raw on NXT with Seth Rollins telling Paul Heyman he owes him a favor. You also had NXT this week with Giulia returning, NJPW Windy City Riot with Hiroshi Tanahashi's final match in the USA, TNA Impact, and we got our hosts' best of the week. And we're all male version because we got Miss Chrissy Love is on sabbatical. She's on vacation. Shout out to the princess of all the true heels. But of course, I am joined by the true draw himself. Josh, how are you feeling? Are you muted? I think you're muted. Yeah, you're muted.
Oh, yeah. No, it's muted. No, I was saying that I feel right. It's just this week, there wasn't a lot of good this week.
No.
And that's like all around. And it's all around.
Yeah, I can't say like it was a good week for WWE and it was a bad week for AEW, or it was a good week for AEW and a bad week for WWE. No, the top two promotions that we usually talk about here on the flagship did not have a good week, in my opinion, as far as the build to WrestleMania 41 is going, and as well as the fallout from AEW Dynasty. But the good news is we got someone new to talk about it with. He's joined us in multiple weeks in a row on Rated Raw Review. That's his new home. But he is, of course, an OG host here on the flagship. It is the top guy himself. JJ, how are you feeling?
Perplexed. But, this is a week that I miss Chrissy already. I love the fact that we're about to literally rip this week to shreds, but just you're gonna get that on. And if we had last minute Natty on television, this would have been perfect for her. But
yeah, he had a match that had last minute Natty and Zoe Stark in it.
But we had some okay points, but we all chilling. It's a Saturday, blessed to be here. Sensitive people make me fucking disgusted, but that want to put that on my little headliner, but there, it's there. It'll be there at some point. You'll see it at some point, but but we here. Let's go. Let's just go.
Yes, we appreciate y'all for joining us live. Appreciate y'all if you're watching us on demand. Remember to show your appreciation back the simplest way possible. Let's drop the thumbs up on this video. You can also share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you are new to the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. And of course, you can sound off in the live chat if you're joining us live. We appreciate y'all, and we try to highlight as many of your comments as possible here on the flagship podcast. But of course, if you're feeling generous, you want to give back to what we do here, you want to make sure your comment is highlighted on screen. If you want to talk about this week in pro wrestling, you can do so with a super chat donation. Any dollar amount matters. It goes back to the contributors that you see on screen with us here, and we always appreciate the support. We got in the chat with us already, we got Eric Isaac, who says, "Hey THH fam, one more week until Mania. Let the madness begin, and rest in peace Kevin Steele." Rest in peace Kevin Steele. Rest in peace Vince Steele. So a lot of losses in the wrestling world over the last month or so. We got also in the chat with us, joining us today, Safet says, sup everyone. We got Power Driver Finisher. He says, they don't have to save Mania. It's a given for them. They don't even have to try these days. Fuck the fans. Let's do marketing and Netflix BS and half. Yeah, it's kind of seeming like WWE is because like they don't give a shit anymore. And I mean, to be fair, neither does Tony Khan. So it seems like the top two companies don't give a crap about us, the fans, or how we feel about things.
I just got a quick question for Josh, though. Where you be getting your Cody tees, man? Because I know them shits ain't coming from shop.com. Because them joints be kind of heat.
They're coming from shop.com. Exactly from there.
You dead ass?
There you go.
Oh,
yeah.
There you go.
Exactly.
I mean, I got to search his tab then, because I don't be seeing none of them shits when I be looking.
Oh, we also got Davion in the chat. He says, what's up, THH fam? Can't wait to talk about another week in wrestling. Yes, indeed. Speaking of shirts, yeah, MCAT says, The Rock wearing a New Japan shirt. What the fuck? The Rock is all about the lion mark, ladies and gentlemen. And when he really wants to think and he wants to put together a Rubik's Cube, he puts on his New Japan Pro Wrestling shirt. He was watching Windy City Riot instead of SmackDown, which I enjoyed that.
I think this man is having a full-blown midlife crisis, bro. I think the midlife crisis is real.
He wished that he was at Hiroshi Tanahashi's final match.
You got WrestleMania next week. This man is just watching some random ass show from another company, not giving two fucks.
Love him.
This shit is gonna come and go to The Rock, bro.
I love him. I love him for it. We got watching stuff who says, can you please talk about Triple H's Hall of Fame induction is being pushed like no other induction ever. It's being pushed more than WrestleMania matches. Like I wish they had this much dedication to promoting the WrestleMania card as they have to promoting Triple H's Hall of Fame induction.
I wish they had more effort in giving Randy Orton a replacement opponent instead of seeing like 9 Triple H vignette packages of all the different matches throughout his career. That'd be nice. That'd be nice. Y'all knew Kevin Owens was on a fucking thin line for months and didn't have a plan B for that. Literally one of your biggest stars, 2 of your biggest stars in the company, you don't have a plan B?
No.
Love that. But yeah, let's throw another Triple H package up there.
To be fair, Sami Zayn doesn't even have a match at WrestleMania.
Sami Zayn hasn't been on Raw in like a month.
He hasn't been on WWE television since Elimination Chamber.
Apparently, he's been wiped off TV. Yeah, he's been written off TV.
Insanity.
Just a main eventer.
Nothing. No big deal. No big.
Won the main event. Whatever.
Iron Kid joining us in the chat this morning saying good morning everyone. We got Brandon Brown, who has been a member of the channel for 17 months. Thank you so much, Brandon Brown, for the support. And if you are a member, join us live following the flagship podcast. We'll be doing a quick Q&A. Me and Josh will be answering any of the questions that you got for us on there. We got Chase in the chat who says hashtag long gamer. Indeed.
Yeah, we gonna find out the end game when we all dead.
That's who he's really watching for. He was watching.
That's gonna be the afterlife, basically.
Dwayne is just a big Gabe Kidd fan. That's what he all
comes down to. Fucking offsprings that sees what the fucking long game plan is.
Oh, Nutty says The Rock knows ball. Indeed, he does. He does. We got Chuck Berries. He says, good morning, THH fam. I'm on my Shannon Sharpish today. PFC, KFC, UFC. Those bums are losing. LOL. There we go. He's ready. He's ready for today. We also got watching stuff who has a conspiracy theory saying TKO buys NJPW. We shall see.
I mean, they do got an infinite bank account, so.
They do. They do. We'll keep coming with those comments in the live chat. We always appreciate those super chat donations as well. But of course, to start off every Tru Heel Heat flagship podcast, we got to start things off with our Tru Heel roll call. We're going to shout out those supporting us across social media, as well as our Patreon page, our top 3 conversation starters on our Facebook group page, our Tru Heel Trinity, number 3, Vegas Bad Boys of Podcasting, number 2, Joe Bellini, and number 1, Stewie John Palmer. Our Patreon backers, you got Vala B, you got Alan Weinstein, Negro Buck Nick Jackson, Professor Chris, Trey, Robert, Steve, Ladarius, John, Martin, Dolores, James, Alan, Santo, I Make Beats, and Justin Rich. Thank you so much for supporting us over at patreon.com/Tru Heel Heat. $3 a month gets you exclusive content and the best place to support us when we are not live here. But without further ado, let's get into where we left off our flagship podcast last week when we gave our final predictions for AEW Dynasty, and we had a near perfect prediction except for the main event. AEW Dynasty, the show featured Jon Moxley defeating Swerve Strickland to retain the AEW World Championship in a match that featured interference from Hangman Adam Page, the Death Riders. The Ops came out to fight off the Death Riders. It looked like Hangman Adam Page was accidentally or inadvertently going to help Swerve Strickland win the AEW World Championship when the lights went out. And then finally, we got the return of Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, the Young Bucks, who cost Swerve the title to close the show, to massive boos from the fans and a lot of heat from the online community. Will Ospreay beat Kevin Knight in a spectacular opener to the show, a real star-making performance for Kevin the Jet Knight, who I was able to talk to for Sports Illustrated earlier this week, while Kyle Fletcher, he picked up a victory over Mark Briscoe in another straight-up banger from those two for both Ospreay and Fletcher to advance in the Owen Hart Foundation men's tournament. Meanwhile, over in the women's Owen Hart Cup, you had Mercedes Moné beat Giulia Hart in a solid bout to advance to the semifinals, where she will face the winner of tonight's episode of Collision, where it's going to be Athena versus Harley Cameron. Timeless Toni Storm, she defeated Megan Bayne in a great match to retain the AEW Women's World Championship. Meanwhile, for the tag team division, you had the Hurt Syndicates, Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, beat the Learning Tree to retain the AEW World Tag Team Championships, thanks in large part to interference from MJF. The Death Riders retained the AEW World Trios Championships over Rated FTR in another great match on the show. Post-match, though, it was all over for Rated FTR as FTR turned on Cope, with Cash Wheeler putting the nail in Cope's coffin, delivering 2 concertos to his former friend as FTR masterful heel turn here. Bandito defeated Chris Jericho to win the Ring of Honor World title after a restart that saw Bandito's mom and sister reveal that Jericho cheated to beat the Luchador, and then the Luchador, of course, got the victory to become the new champion. Speaking of new champions, Adam Cole, baby, beat Daniel Garcia in a pretty good match to win the TNT championship, and in the match of the night, Kenny Omega defeated Ricochet and Speedball Mike Bailey in an absolutely outstanding 3-way encounter to retain the AEW International Championship. Post-match, Omega was confronted by his longtime rival, the Continental Champion Kazuchika Okada, to once again tease their upcoming All In Texas, or reportedly their All In Texas showdown. We'll start with top guy JJ. What did you think about Dynasty overall, but more specifically, what did you think about the ending with the return of the Young Bucks to screw over Swerve Strickland and to continue the Death Rider story?
I hated that to me ruined such a fucking awesome pay-per-view. Cause my God, like, one, I thought that This is only my tasting. I thought that they were, and this is typical AEW. Like they have like 1,000 matches, but then when the matches happen, like I was like, what am I about? What am I about to see with Mark Briscoe and Kyle Fletcher? And my God, like this, like there wasn't, except for I would say maybe the tag match with the Hurt Syndicate and the Learning Tree. Like I didn't care for that match like at all. But literally every other match was solid to absolutely fantastic. Like literally the entire card of matches was great. And the main event was one of the rare matches that I thoroughly enjoyed Jon Moxley's work in the ring. And then you're left with that shit after 4.5 hours. After 4.5 fucking hours, we get that. We get the most like in it. It was so confusing and so unnecessary to me that I didn't even know what to ask. I was like, "What the fuck was this for?" Like
Who was this for?
I was flabbergasted from that shit. Because it's like, come on, y'all gonna leave me with that after giving me the pay-per-view that I just watched? Like, Megan Bain showed out, yo, that woman is a specimen, bro. Like, and the triple threat with Omega, Ricochet, and Speedball, like, yo, I'm on a high, yo. Like, I'm on such a high. Like, this card was great. Like, it was a great event. And that is the shit that everybody's gonna end up talking about. Like, that shit ruined like 9 or 10 fantastic matches. Because like even Mercedes Moné and Giulia Hart, like they had some rough patches in the start of the match, but then they picked it up and got so much better. Like it there was not a bad match on this show. Even the main event was a good match. But that's the shit that you're gonna be fucking stuck with. It's that bullshit. And that is what, oh my, like how Tony, like bro, like oh my God. Like it is so head scratching that you could deliver such a fucking amazing show and then give us that to go home with after such a long night. You know, people went to sleep at 1:00 in the morning after that shit.
I had to do a 2.5 hour post show afterwards. Yeah, it was like 8:00 in the morning when I finally went to sleep.
It is frustrating. It is absolutely frustrating because it's you see how good this place is. You see how good they are. You see how good the in-ring work is. You see what they're working to, like seeing the all-in preview with Kenny and Okada. You see the magic happening, and then you're left with that. And it's like, that is unfortunately what most people are going to talk about. But I remember the matches from Dynasty, and to me, the show was phenomenal. Like, it was a phenomenal show. Like, it was amazing. Like, the cards, the matches, even though some of them I was like, I didn't get why they were on there. But when they got in the ring, over-delivered. Absolutely phenomenal show. But one of the worst endings I've ever seen.
And it comes after a pay-per-view, which we bemoaned as one of the worst endings to an AEW pay-per-view ever, and he did it back to back. Josh, you're a little bit more positive on AEW usually. What did you think about Dynasty overall, and what did you think about the ending with the Young Bucks return?
Overall, the pay-per-view was great. I enjoyed most of it. A lot of great matches. It was a fun opener as well. Kevin Knight is proving why he necessarily didn't need to try out for WWE to sign with a company. My opinion on that. They did a lot of great things in the show, and then the triple threat for the Kenny Omega, Speedball, and Ricochet. All three guys delivered in their own way. You know, and it's been fun seeing Ricochet with his character. It seems like he's getting like better with that each week. Like he's getting not only more heat, but he seems a lot more comfortable just to be an asshole, and I like seeing stuff like that. As far as the main event, I mean, I did have Swerve winning, and when he didn't win, I don't know. I guess having the Young Bucks kind of made it a little bit comforting for me, because if say the Bucks weren't there and we get the finish that we get, I'll probably be more upset about it. But I do agree that Swerve should have won at that moment. You know, Tony Khan did explain his stuff after in the press conference. I don't think he really necessarily did a good job explaining it.
He didn't explain it. He didn't answer the question. He's an expert bullshitter.
Yeah, no, I'm saying like all he really did was like he more so just tried to defend Moxley and what he's done for the company. And I don't think that's a great answer in that to that extent. Like I get where he was coming from, and I get that he's looking out for like one of his talents, right? But when it comes to this, I'm just like, bro, like, if people are not liking this, then you should read the room sometimes. Sometimes if you have to pivot, it's okay to pivot. I thought this was one of the moments that you should have just pivot, give Swerve the title, and then you go from there. Because even if Swerve wins the title, obviously there's like some questions off of that. Like, they go into All In and they have Hangman versus Swerve. Is Swerve going to lose to Hangman for a short title reign, right? Stuff like that. But I think at the moment, it's like you got to listen. Sometimes it's okay to listen to the fans. This has not been a great storyline for numbers of reasons, and yeah. I mean, I already knew I already knew the backlash it was going to get online, and a lot of people were going to be pissed about it, and it was just like, I don't know. I was just bracing myself for it because I was just like, oh man, this shit is not going to be good. But I mean, he should have pulled the trigger, man. He really should have pulled the trigger, and that's just where I stand on when it comes to that.
My whole thing is that Tony Khan was a professional wrestling fan who then becomes an owner of a company and was able to start AEW. The reason why he had the market share and the ability to do that was, one, there was the talent available. Two, they had all this momentum from All In 2018, and the Elite were going to be free agents and they were going to be his partners in starting off the company. And three, the big one, is that WWE made it possible because they had a booker who always told us as fans, you're wrong and I'm right. I'm right, you're wrong. I'm not going to listen to you. This is what I want to do. I want Jinder Mahal to be the WWE champion. I'm going to give you the Fiend, and then I'm going to immediately ruin it with the Hell in a Cell. I'm going to give you Baron Corbin and Roman Reigns feuding over Dog Feud. This was the type of things that basically that guy told us he liked. We were wrong because we should like it too. And Tony Khan looked at all of that, and with this Death Riders thing is saying, I think that Vince McMahon had a good idea. I think I'm right and everybody else is wrong. Because he has people that he pays to advise him, that he pays to keep his finger on the pulse of what the fans want. So I know there are people backstage that are telling him, this isn't working, maybe we should try something new. All the fans are yelling and screaming, this is not what we want, let's try something new. And he refuses to change the course. And I understand, for Josh, he says that, Young Bucks being there made it a little bit better. It really didn't. It really feels like, to me, he just combined the last two major storylines that did not work together. The Elite Takeover did not work last year, and the Death Riders thing is even worse, and now you're just smashing them together. That makes no sense. It's very tone deaf, and it's stubborn. It's frustrating, and it's really demoralizing as a fan of this company, because Triple H has opened the door for him to gain ground. Triple H is not been doing his best work in the build up to WrestleMania. So you had the opportunity to listen to your fans, to pivot away from something that has become an albatross to a really good wrestling product, to one of the best assembled rosters of all time, and pivot the course, change the course, and put it on someone that the fans can get behind in Swerve Strickland, and set up a major, great pay-per-view main event for All In with Swerve and Hangman. And you could have had the better option, and you teased it with Swerve, with Hangman inadvertently helping Swerve win the world title, and then you just took it away and just did what you wanted to do, because I'm right, you're wrong. That's his way of thinking. And all I could say was, first of all, after the pay-per-view, all I could say is, what you saying fuck me for? And now a week later, I'm saying fuck you, Tony Khan, because this was stupid.
I mean, it's hard to argue with it, but also at the same time, like, I'm not going to just completely eliminate how great 4 hours was. Like, I just can't do that. I
had a lot of problems with this pay-per-view, to be honest with you. I thought the Dusty finish for Bandito and Chris Jericho was also fucking stupid.
Oh, I didn't even mention that match.
Why can't, I know you did. Why can't Bandito just beat Chris Jericho? That was one of the most unnecessary Dusty finishes that I think I've seen in my entire life.
Yeah. I mean, that's it, and that's the fucked up thing, is when such a bad decision just happens, that's literally just going to dominate the brain, and it's just going to dominate what your output is going to be, because that was a reprehensible move, man. Like it just made no logical wrestling sense. Like it made none. Like, and there's going to be no payoff to this. Like, and that's what really makes this bad, is that the Young Bucks have been away for months, and then all of a sudden now we're trying to do a merger. Like it's just tone deaf. It's just so tone deaf, because like you alluded to earlier, like you literally had two programs that's done jack shit, that has not worked, and you think together it's gonna make it better? Like how, Sway? Like, it just, the math ain't mathing, and it ain't operating well when it comes onto the television screen. And I mean, hopefully, I mean, like, also, like, to say, like, I love the fact that I saw Adam Cole win the TNT championship. Like I love that I saw that, and then it's like, bro, that shit is completely glossed over. Like, that shit doesn't even, doesn't even matter. Like, basically, like, it's
like the sixth most important thing that happened on the show.
Like, it's crazy, yo. Like, it is crazy that's such, and this is for people that's like, oh, everybody a fucking AEW glazing. Nah, bro, the energy is the same no matter who makes dumbass decisions. No matter who makes them, they gonna get the smoke either way. And the fact that you had a great show and then you did that shit outweighed the great show. And that's what people's going to be talking about for months to come, because it's like, what the fuck are we going to get, and what's going to be the payoff? Hopefully we get one.
And honestly, Puff Dutch says, people are mad, but Will ends Mox in Texas. There's no guarantee of that anymore. There's no guarantee that this is going to end at All In, because his original idea is Darby Allin is the one that ends Moxley's reign. So there is no guarantee that Tony Khan is going to pivot from that. People think, oh no, he pivot. And there was no plans for Swerve to win it. Moxley's gonna hold the title to All In Texas, and he's gonna lose it to Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay's gonna be the winner. I heard Romeo saying that on the watch along, and I was just like, I don't understand how y'all think that's the plan, because that's not what the original plan was, and it seems like he's not reverting course from what the original plan is.
I mean, it's okay to be mad because it's stupid. Like, just because it ends in Texas doesn't mean that we gotta fucking suffer for 3 months before that shit happens. Like, that shit doesn't matter. Like, don't give us bullshit until the fucking ending happens. Like, there is a monster pay-per-view coming up and called Double or Nothing. Like, that's good. That is one of AEW's major pay-per-views. Like, so don't act like this shit ain't happened. And then you got the Forbidden Door happening the following month. Like,
no, for the North is in August.
In August.
They
That's in
moved it.
August.
Damn.
Yeah.
I like that run right there. But all right, cool. All right, but what's the next one that's happening after that?
July. It's all in Texas after Double In.
Wow. So we got Double or Nothing followed by All In. Come on, you got to do better than that. You just got to do better than that. You got to do better than that.
Because you had all this excitement because people believed that Swerve would win. And it's not, oh, this is what the fans want. The fans booked it themselves. No, Tony Khan and AEW, they presented it this way. They gave you hope. They gave you faith. They was like, maybe we'll do it. And then they was just like, nope, that wasn't ever our plan. We're going to keep it on Moxley because Moxley's a draw. When we have AEW fans talking like WWE fans, like, oh, everything's okay because Moxley and the Death Riders are a draw. They get 1 million views on their YouTube, and the DVR viewership is higher now with Moxley and the Death Riders. No, it's still dumb. It's still dumb. Sometimes people watch things that are bad, and that's what they do. They watch things that are bad to complain about them or to criticize them, and AEW is just giving them a lot of material right now.
Yeah, I hope the ending ain't with that Darby Allin, because there's so much that's happened since that was supposed to have happened. Like, is it gonna feel the same?
Yeah. And it's just, it's all the bad, like this whole Moxley and the Death Riders is like all the bad parts of Planet Jarrett. It's all the bad parts of the NWO. It's all the bad parts of the WWE Bloodline. And it's all the bad parts of NJPW's House of Torture. All in one. With someone who should be considered the GOAT and a net positive to AEW. They are slowly but surely ruining the legacy and the reputation of Jon Moxley with this single reign. It's insane to me. It's insane to me. I don't understand this. I just don't. But
we'll get past it.
We will. I don't know if AEW will, but we will. Power Driver Finisher says, is that from TK being a fan or TK being a rich motherfucker with egotistical tendencies? No, I'm saying that you already answered the question within the question, but I answered the question for you as well. Is that Tony Khan was a fan and now he has gone to his worst self, which is a rich motherfucker with egotistical tendencies.
Yeah, I think you literally you kind of said those exact words like a few minutes ago. So I think just got to let it resonate, because if you just kind of like look at it and pay attention to it, unfortunately, those tendencies are starting. They come out. Hopefully, it's not a pattern, like a consistent pattern. He's young enough to not go through a full-blown midlife crisis.
I would hope so. He is in his 40s. Davion says the Death Riders might as well be renamed the House of Death. I mean, I hope this whole thing doesn't have like irreversible damage to AEW. But the Young Bucks are back. As we previously said, they made their return at AEW Dynasty this past Sunday and cost Swerve Strickland the AEW World title, helping Jon Moxley pick up the victory. Fightful Select had more details on it, and also had to report that someone significant was backstage at AEW Dynasty. PW Insider reported that the former AEW World Champion Bryan Danielson was backstage at the show all night. Danielson last competed at AEW Wrestle Dream when Jon Moxley defeated him for the AEW World Championship. He said that his full-time wrestling career was over at that point. When news broke that Danielson was backstage at the show, Fightful Select said the rumors started that the finish was his call. However, that was not the case. Every final decision for AEW TV comes from Tony Khan. One source joked that if Bryan Danielson had that much power, he wouldn't have won the world title last year. It was noted that the decision was Tony Khan's and Tony Khan's alone. There were many in AEW who weren't sure how long the Young Bucks would be out prior to their return, but and talent had made pitches to work with them. The Bucks were backstage at a recent show in California, but left before it began. They were also on hand for Christopher Daniels' final match in Cincinnati. Some sources suggested that they hadn't heard about the Bucks being part of long-term plans, while another source said that we planted seeds for this for a while back. There's no word on if there was ever a plan for Swerve to win the AEW World title, and the plan was reportedly for Moxley to have a long title reign even before he won. AEW has been talking about the success of the Death Riders and Jon Moxley angle backstage, noting that there's been a disconnect with fans online. AEW said that their live plus DVR numbers have went up with Moxley as champion, peaking with the street fight he had with Cope. One source suggested that Jay White was planning for a heel turn before his injury, and it was implied that he might have been involved with the main event. White's injury did cause quote-unquote significant changes to the creative plans last week. Meanwhile, Orange Cassidy, Brian Cage, who were also injured, were also planned for Dynasty before that. According to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, the Young Bucks return was also planned for this show, not Revolution or any of the events in California. The Bucks didn't arrive in the building at Dynasty until 10 p.m., late enough that word wouldn't leak. However, they didn't try to hide them backstage until midnight. So I'll ask you, Josh, do you think they can the Young Bucks return save this AEW Death Rider story at this point?
Save, I think save is a strong word. I wouldn't say no, just because the discourse of it's already kind of just the ship has sailed on that. People are gonna feel the way that they're gonna feel. So I don't really think on that aspect it's gonna save it. I really wouldn't know what you would do to even use the term save. At most I would say maybe salvageable. That's about it, and that's me being generous. But I don't know. Too much. It's just more of the fan perception of it. I don't know how you come back from that, and that's just it is what it is when it comes to that.
JJ, what do you think about the addition of the Young Bucks and involving? We're going to talk about Dynamite, which is kind of like they were kind of bringing the elite drama, the 5-year drama in AEW of the elite, into the whole Death Rider story with Swerve and Hangman story all in one to try to bring some more interest and turn people around on the Death Rider story, it seems. What do you think about this path that AEW is choosing?
I hate it. Like you've known this for months. I've not been down with this Death Rider shit from the start. Like I've not liked this from the start. And people's like, give it time, give it some time to sink in and let it rot out for a minute. It's been how many fucking months, and I still don't fucking like it. Like, so convoluting it more ain't gonna make me enjoy it more. Like, honestly, this might be a detriment to the Young Bucks. Like, this might be bad for them. Like the Death Rider shit to me is so ass that whoever joins that vortex gets hurt. Like, I don't like it. Like it to me, the purpose that it serves is, I need to find somebody that has the grit and the will and the that fervor that he's looking for, but every fucking match ends dirty. Like, that's not the point of your message. The message is, do you find somebody that is willing and that has it to take it from me? Not with 5 motherfuckers at your side. Like, so no, I don't think this is not going to save it at all. I think it's going to make it worse.
Yeah, because there's so many issues with the Death Rider story. One, they lost the plot a long time ago. Because a long time ago, it was about him wanting to motivate the young guys who he felt were being complacent, and he wanted them to step up to challenge him, and he wanted people to, you know, come in his direction. And how he won the world title at Wrestle Dream, he beat Bryan Danielson clean. He just overpowered him. He dominated him, and it was a Gunther-like performance in like how he beat Bryan, and that was his best match of the entire reign. Was when he won it. Like the matchup with Orange Cassidy at Full Gear was great in the main event spot, I thought, but he did win because of Wheeler Yuta. Then you had the four-way, which the build was not great for the four-way at World's End, and then he needed Wheeler Yuta to win that one, and needed the Death Riders to win that one. Then there was the whole Cope rivalry, where he only beat Cope because of the Death Riders, and then the Patriarchy getting involved, and Christian getting involved, and had to beat Cope again because of the Patriarchy. And then there's this shit where it's just becoming like, it's like you can't even really get into the matchups because they're like 25 to 30 minutes long, and you know nothing matters until the interference comes.
Yep.
So you're watching 20 minutes of stuff that really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter until the referee bump comes. And this is the same shit that made people down on the end of Roman's run. Is that all of Roman's final title defenses in 2023 were booked just like this.
Yep.
It's
So
frustrating.
his story just doesn't add up to what happens in the ring. So that's just it just doesn't make sense to me. And it's like, all right, so you're selling this story, and the story just doesn't line up. Makes it whack. Like fuck. Like, all right, if if you were talking different and the results were the same, then it might be a little different feeling. But don't get on the fucking microphone calling out the fucking whole company, talking about they don't got what it takes, when you got a whole crew behind you that's going to get involved in every single one of your fucking title defenses.
Yeah. Will Chisholm, he actually did get his revenge. He did there was a whole angle on Collision where he claimed back at the Hurt Syndicate. See, this is an issue that I have with fans in general. Will Chisholm, let's stick on the thing that is not working right now. Let's not bring up old shit that was actually addressed. Like he says, so are we going to go back to Swerve and Bobby Lashley when Swerve said, I'm not through with you back in January, and it just got dropped? Very Vince McMahon TK. No, he did get back at them. He attacked them on an episode of Collision, said that was his lick back, and then he moved on to something else. I mean, yeah, we could have gotten more of a follow-up there, but he did address that. He did get back at him. It's just that the Death Riders thing is really like the glaring thing that isn't working, because they've lost the plot. It is not what it originally was supposed to be, and he's booking it like a whole bunch of bad angles from other promotions. And then when us, the fans, is telling him this isn't working, he doesn't want to listen. That's the thing that is very frustrating as a fan of the company. And I also don't like this part of Frantic World saying the Death Rider story is the only thing that is bad in AEW right now. Everything else is pretty good in AEW. No, we also have Chris Jericho. Have Chris Jericho. Yeah. And like I said, I don't think that Dynasty was the best effort. And it is a reason why, for like on Cage Match, it's one of the lowest rated AEW pay-per-views of all time. Because it wasn't very booked very well. Like you have two back-to-back 31-minute matches to close the show. When you've already had it was already 3.5 hour show before Kenny Omega and Ricochet and Speedball go out there. Why don't you put that match earlier in the show? Why don't you put Adam Cole and Daniel Garcia earlier in the show so the fans can actually react to Adam Cole finally winning a singles title in AEW? They were sitting on their hands because they were already worn out by 8 matches prior to that.
Yeah.
Like, this was not a very well put together pay-per-view. Then you did back-to-back 31-minute matches. You did a dusty finish for no goddamn reason. And then you overbooked the main event. There's a reason why people are so down after this show. I think that they had a better... The Revolution show was an all-timer ruined by the main event. This was a badly booked pay-per-view ruined by the main event. That's that had a lot of great stuff on it. I do agree with what JJ was saying. There was a lot of great matches, a lot of great performances on the show. The new signings like Speedball, Kevin Knight, Megan Bain all showed the fuck out on the show. And like you said, the Mercedes Giulia Hart started off pretty clunky, but Mercedes shows why she's one of the best women's wrestlers of all time and made that a solid matchup. The Hurt Syndicate matchup, They missed the whole MJF freaking, and that's what the little things now become bigger things because production sucked on this show because they missed the whole MJF interference in that fucking matchup. Like, this is the little things that I'm willing to let slide. I'm not willing to let slide anymore because I'm so pissed off with this Death Riders main event seed. And when it's the main event frantic world, we can't just say, oh, that's the only thing that's bad in AEW. Everything else is good. No, that's not the case. When it's the number one thing in your company that's bad, then it trickles down.
It headlines everything. And I wouldn't, I guess you can say bad booked. I would just say overbooked. Like, it's just too much. Right. Like, it's too much. Like, we don't need 11 matches on a fucking show. Like, we just don't. Like, we really don't. Because 4.5 hours, 5 hours, your fans are going to be dead, bro. Like, they're going to be dead. Like that is one thing I would say that the other places adapted is at least making them shorter so your fans could be into the entire program. 4.5 to 5 hours is a stretch, dude. Like, that's a long time to have your people amped up and hyped, man. They could have had 8 matches and it could have been just fine. It could have been perfectly fine with the 8 matches, go like 3.5 hours and be just fine. And it would have been a much, much better viewed on and soaked in pay-per-view.
Yeah. You didn't need the Hurt Syndicate to defend on this pay-per-view. I love Shelton Benjamin.
Bandito for sure.
Didn't need Jericho and Bandito on this show. For better or worse, even though it was a new champion crown, if you're going to put it that late in the card, you didn't really need Cole and Garcia. Didn't really need Kyle Fletcher and Mark Briscoe.
Even though it was a great match.
Even though that was one of the best matches on the show. But you really didn't need to be on this show.
You take that away, that's a whole hour less. That's like an hour less, and it's much easier to sink in.
And you put the 3-way matchup in the middle of the card. So you're not doing back-to-back 30-minute matches to end the show.
Yeah. So, overbooked. I would say overbooked.
Very, very. Josh mentioned earlier, Tony Khan did address some things in the post-show presser. Tony Khan weighed in on potential backlash to the ending of AEW Dynasty's main event. During the post-show media scrum, Khan was asked about negative chatter on social media about the Bucks returning to cost Swerve Strickland the AEW World title against Jon Moxley. On if he takes that negative feedback into consideration, he says, absolutely. I take that into consideration, and I think you want the fans. We had a lot of great moments for the fans tonight, and Swerve was, no offense, Renee, the more popular man in the house tonight. The fans were really behind Swerve in the arena. You had 2 of the greatest world champions having this matchup, and obviously the return of the Young Bucks spoiled what was a really great world championship match on a night where there were a lot of great fan favorite moments. That was not necessarily the outcome that a lot of people here are hoping for. On the other hand, I think that Jon Moxley has been, from the very beginning of AEW, one of the most important figures from the very first pay-per-view we ever did. And it's very interesting now. This creates a lot of intrigue to have the Young Bucks come back. I think it's important to remember we have not seen the Young Bucks in almost 6 months in AEW. From the very beginning of AEW, the Young Bucks have been instrumental in the launch of AEW, and to see them come back this way, really for the Young Bucks to get involved and break up what could have been a great moment for the fans, that is consistent with the kind of character we've seen from the Young Bucks in recent years. On the storyline possibilities and interests in the storyline, he says, I would say it creates an intriguing situation. Certainly, I think the fans are behind Swerve. I think the fans are behind Swerve as much today after the pay-per-view as they have been at any point. I think the fans love Swerve. I don't think the Young Bucks involvement or then screwing him changes that. I do think for tonight, it creates a very intriguing situation. So I am very aware the fans really love Swerve. He's one of our most popular stars. Jon Moxley's done a lot of great things for the company. So there has been a lot of interest in what's happening. And certainly, I think there was a lot of support for Swerve tonight, but it's certainly going to create an intriguing situation with the Young Bucks, who are two of our biggest stars ever, coming back and wrecking havoc. And something to certainly watch for Wednesday is at least a silver lining for all of us. No, the fuck it's not. This was so much corporate propaganda and BS from Tony Khan. Like, oh my God.
That's why I was telling you. That's why I was like, I don't think it's a good answer. Like, I understand defending your talent. I understand defending somebody like Jon Moxley because, he was like one of your big signing, your first big signing when it comes to somebody leaving WWE, the time that he left WWE and then joining AEW and then being there. Like, I understand trying to defend your guy, but then sometimes if things are not going well, it's not going well, and the explanation is not going to be very good. And this was a very corporate GM sports kind of answer where it was like, hey, do you think you need to switch your quarterback? No, he's my guy. He's our guy. He's done this. He's done that. That's basically what I got from that. And, and like I said, I understand that. It's just, this is just something that people didn't want to fucking hear. I think that's just what it comes down to. I was like, that's not a good time to probably talk about all of that. It's really not.
My follow-up question would be like, but you do realize that this title reign is ruining that reputation and that legacy that you've built for Jon Moxley in AEW, right?
Damn, man. If you would have asked that, then you probably would never get invited back.
Yeah, I'll never get invited again.
No. That's the problem. It's a good question. It's a fair question because there are people who feel that way. It's just like, oh, shit. It's like, well, there goes our credentials. Bye.
And I guess in that aspect too, you can see what he's trying to do because of how unloyal just the sport of professional wrestling is. Like the minute someone becomes unhappy, they're looking for their way out, regardless of what company they're in. So, sometimes you gotta say the nice things to keep your players around, and keep them happy. He might not have wanted to say any of that shit, but it's like, he is one of my top guys. Like, it'd be fucking bad to see another Cody Rhodes happen to me. It'd be fucked up to see another CM Punk happen to me. It would be fucked up to see another Ethan Page and fucking Ricky Starks and just all these other fucking people that, damn, I see something in and they're mad now. And regardless of the reason that they're mad, they just dip. They just dip. So, you do got to play that like unlikable boss at times and do say the right things to keep your players around. Do we want to hear it? Probably not. But at the end of the day, it is a business. It is his job.
Oh, yeah, and I also wanted to respond to Will's question. Yeah, it wasn't Jerry Jones' answer. To be honest, Tony Khan did better than Jerry Jones because Jerry Jones would have done worse. Would have done worse. So there you go. That's why I wanted to say to that. Fuck Jerry Jones.
Yeah, so sometimes just take the comments with a grain of salt, man, because you gotta keep your team happy. You got to. Like, you can't go in and dog your own work publicly. Mm-hmm. You imagine the fucking headline and the story that would be if the question is answered with raw truth.
And I get it. And that's why like, he's not, Tony Khan is not like, I don't want to say that, I feel bad because I really don't feel bad for billionaires because he will be fine at the end of the day, no matter what. But it's one of those things where, he did come into the business being a fan and now he has to be a boss. And it's one of those things that sometimes where you're a fan, it's, sometimes you got to do the tough job. And I think being here, 6 years, he's realizing that. Like, You're not going to make everybody happy. And I think firsthand he's seeing that. You're not going to make everybody happy. You know, it's just, you know, and we've been saying it for a while, you know, when it comes to the wrestling business, it's a cut and throat business. People are going to look out for themselves. You know, it's a egotistical business. People are going to look out for themselves. So imagine if he was to go up there, shit on John Moxley. It's, you know, it's again, like what JJ said, you're looking at a Cody Rhodes situation where he's like, all right, I'm just going to fucking leave and go back to the E, and then probably cut a promo and then go on the podcast and talk shit. Who knows?
Yeah, and I think, you know, and I'm like looking at the comment section, I think, you see, reading is, you're too literal. You can't nitpick a single fucking name and be like, oh, this person ain't gonna. That wasn't the point. It wasn't the point. Like, we can go how many other names? Penta, Phoenix, Jade Cargill. Like, how many more fucking people do we have to mention?
Like, well, no, Cody, you could just stop at Cody. Cody is the biggest one.
Yeah, it's honestly, Cody is the biggest one because everybody else, right? In regards to like I understood JJ's point, and it's not, he wasn't trying to put everybody in like the same boat because everybody's situation is different. Like Cody Rhodes' situation, Cody Rhodes just basically he chose WWE. He left, he said something about he had some kind of problem, and he left. Went back to WWE. CM Punk got fired, so he basically had no choice. You know, he basically had no choice. You know, in regards to like guys like Ethan Page, Ricky Starks, to be fair, they were on the lower kind of tier of that kind of stuff. The Lucha Bros, they were good in the tag team, but they weren't used like singles competitors. Like they weren't used as single competitors. You know, so they're in those were situations where it was kind of like, yeah, you know, they could leave to WWE. Would it really hurt AEW? Probably not as much because they weren't like those top tier kind of main event stars. So I mean, but at the end of the day, I don't think it was a situation where you were putting everybody in the same tier. It was just you were making a point of people leaving the company.
And
like you just don't want somebody else leaving the company.
With the WWE, people are going to get unhappy, and they're going to go to AEW. They're going to go to TNA. They're going to go to New Japan. The minute they become unhappy, look at what happened to Sasha Banks. She spoke her mind. She fucking voiced herself. She left. The minute, regardless of situation, if you become unhappy, it is a personal choice, and you decide if you want to go or stay. That is the world of professional wrestling, and most of the wrestlers are going to act before they get acted on, because God knows we see release gate happen at least 4 or 5 times a year in wrestling. That's the fucking point. Not the point of trying to be brutally honest with your fucking fans. It's you gotta keep your people happy. That's it. If you haven't been a boss, you won't understand the fucking concept. That's it.
Yeah. We do have a super chat donation, a huge one from Chuck Berries. Thank you so much, Chuck Berries, for the big support. Thank you so much. He says, I can see it now. Shit's about to hit the fan. Anarchy in the Arena featuring the EVPs and the Death Riders versus Swerve Strickland, the Ops, and another Strangler partner, LOL. Not saying that I like that, but I can see AEW doing that. Yeah, literally, when the Young Bucks returned, I was like, oh, we got to set up for Anarchy in the Arena. Yay. Because we know how Tony Khan books. He's booked the same shit for now 4 years in a row. This all started back in 2021 when he did the whole MJF is in the inner circle and then turns on the inner circle to create Pinnacle, except he did it in reverse where he did Blood and Guts before he did Stadium Stampede, and then he turned around in 2022. He did it with the Jericho Appreciation Society and the Puerto Rican Combat Club in the first Anarchy in the Arena, and then did Blood and Guts after that, and then that rivalry continued after that for some stupid ass reason. The best way he ever booked it was when it was the Elite and the Blackpool Combat Club, 2 certified stables that were already built, and it was like 2 mega powers coming against each other, and then they ended it after the Blood and Guts matchup And then last year, it was the whole Elite takeover storyline with Team AEW coming up against the Elite at Anarchy in the Arena and Blood and Guts. He does the same shit every year, and it's just like, dude, switch it up just a little bit. Just a little bit, because this is not how you pivot. You're just literally, you're not even pivoting. You're just doing the same shit with a new story, and a story that isn't working for a lot of fans.
True.
It's just.
I mean, I probably wouldn't even. I probably wouldn't even have any Anarchy in an Arena. I probably wouldn't even just have that match. Kind of just let it breathe. Just let it sit for a year. Because then you also have Blood and Guts, right? Isn't Blood and Guts usually like in June? So that's going to be before All In, right?
Yeah, and I'm like, that's a bad idea. That's a horrible idea when you really think about it. Like, why would you do Blood and Guts in the build to your biggest pay-per-view of the year?
Yeah, and that's why I don't know.
He did it last year, and it sort of worked out for him.
It convolutes stories because now you got to rush through everything.
Well, it kind of worked last year because the thing was that because that was in what? That was in June.
July.
That was in July? Was it in July? Yeah. Was it June? Yeah. Oh, that's right.
Because Forbidden Door was in June.
That's right. That's right. That's what I was trying to figure out.
I'm used to that.
I was going to say, hey, they had more time, but then they kind of really didn't have more time. Yeah,
wait, so this year they're actually not going to do like All In and All Out back-to-back weeks?
No. They're doing Forbidden Door. They're doing Forbidden Door and All Out back-to-back weeks.
Yeah, because the reason why. Yeah, because the reason why it was in June, is in July, was because since they came back to the States, the availability of where they wanted to do it at in Texas, that's the best time to do it because the Texas Rangers, they're on a road at that time. So it was the perfect timing to do it at that point. Yeah. They really wanted to do it in Texas. That was always kind of the plan because they wanted to do a big pay-per-view in Texas. So that was July is usually like the best window, especially like when the Rangers are on the road. It's a baseball stadium. So that's why they did it. They just decided to flip-flop it. So Forbidden Door is gonna be in August, but that's basically gonna be the UK show. That's basically what that's gonna be.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're still doing it back to back, basically.
They're really doing back to back weeks though, because that I hate that idea. I hate that whole concept.
Well, they're not doing it back to back. They do like a week in between, which it worked out for them last year. They did do a good job of building to All Out. They built to All In and All Out basically at the same time. Where after All In was done, all the matches kind of put themselves together for All Out because All Out was one of their best pay-per-views last year.
You also didn't have to push the title when it comes to that. With All Out, you didn't have to push that as much. So, last year ended up working out, and then obviously All Out was a lot more violent than All In. I still remember that.
Yeah. We got Ode Nutty who says TK trying to set up an Anarchy matchup with this storyline instead of putting the world title back on TV. That's another issue with the Death Rider storyline. The fact that they have one of the most beautiful world titles in all of wrestling and it's in a suitcase for now 7 months.
Yeah, that alone, and I've been saying that myself. It's just like you have like one of the best looking belts titles in the business and in the suitcase. The only time you get to see it is when a fan buys it and they're in the crowd and you get to see it in the crowd. Like, what the fuck? It's a beautiful belt. It's not an ugly belt, guys. Like, you can see the belt. Yeah. And because even with that, the suitcase concept is kind of just why. That's how I felt about it. Like, why? You could just still have the belt and you could treat it like shit if you want to. You could do like a Naito, treat it belt horribly, but I don't see the point of it being in the suitcase.
Yeah, facts. We got my homie Graps Knowledge in the chat. Good to see you, Knowledge, here. He says, LOL, can a promoter just be honest and say, yeah, we missed on that one. We'll clean that up soon. To be fair, he kind of said that in his own Tony Khan way at Revolution. Yeah, because he said the whole hindsight is 2020. He said something like hindsight is 2020. You know, you would think about it differently, but I thought that Swerve finishing off the show and giving people hope that he was going to win the title was the right way to close Revolution, even though it wasn't.
Yeah,
It was quite clear it wasn't.
There's times where he had, but at the end of the day, usually promoters, they will almost never admit they're wrong because, again, they're the ones making the decisions. So the moment that they kind of just give their out, that kind of gives an out for them, and a lot of people just won't go for it. So, I mean, again, it's in the business. How many times have you heard Triple H say he made a mistake? Never.
Never.
So,
and that's why I do agree with watching stuff who says, to be fair, Tony deflects questions in press conferences way better than Triple H, because Triple H gets mad. Triple H gets upset when you ask him a tough question.
He gets flustered, and then even when he gives you a non-answer, it's just really terrible. So it's like he gives you a double whammy.
Yeah, wrestler turned PR guy has not worked out for Triple H yet. It's not worked out yet.
Did you read the lawsuit? No, I haven't read it.
So, I mean, it might be a good idea to kind of like hire a head PR person, like, and for both sides, actually. Like, you know, it might be a good idea. They can handle the dialogue and the questions from people a little bit better because of you being so personally invested in it. Like, you're not gonna give the most clearest answers because it's your product.
True.
Like, I'm not gonna be able to tell you if I give you something that's not that great and be like, oh yeah, I fucked that one up.
And it's also you protecting like your product. It's you protecting like your product, you protecting your business. Yeah. So again, like hand in hand, I get it. I get both sides. I get fans want them to be more honest, but on the other hand,
it doesn't make it better.
Yeah. No, I'm saying like I get it, but at the same time,
if you are a business owner or you are a general owner or a manager or something, yo, you gotta stand on business, bro.
Yeah, you got to. You got down that hill. I get it. I get it. I 100% get it.
It's not a difficult concept to understand unless you've literally never had to stand on business before. Like, you listen, most people stand on lies that is so fucking much more simplified than a fucking multi-million-dollar to be billion-dollar business. People can't even fucking tell their girlfriend the truth on a fucking story where they went to the store instead of going to see a side piece. This man is trying to protect the multi-billion-dollar investment. Like,
to be fair to him.
Saying.
Oh man, but we'll see. But one last thing before we get into this week's AEW Dynamite, it is time for our new recurring segment on this show, Josh. As the Swerve Turns, episode 3.
Oh God, what the fuck? What?
This time, Swerve Strickland addressed the crowd after AEW Dynasty and closed with a parting shot at Booker T. Strickland spoke to the crowd after the show about his loss to Jon Moxley and talked about his history in Philadelphia. He says, I know there are some upset fans leaving for the doors to your cars to go home, and I understand. I feel for you right now. If you can calmly just wait, share these last couple of minutes with me, because I don't know if I'll ever be back in this World Championship contender moment after the EVPs are back. We don't know, but that's why you continue to watch our program, All Elite Wrestling, because this is where the best freaking wrestling, and tonight you just saw the absolute best compete for the AEW World Championship right in front of your very eyes. Very long years ago, I took my career to the next level. 13 very long years ago, I took my career to the next level by traveling all the way up from Lancaster, Pennsylvania, all the way to this great city right here, Philadelphia. And that's where my career really skyrocketed. So this is a full circle moment, getting to compete for the AEW World Championship on pay-per-view in front of the same people that didn't know who I was. I had $1 and a dream, and this is what came of it. Being here with you people right now tonight. Not only that, my family, my children, my 2 girls got to sit here front row and really watch me compete for the World Championship. My niece, my nephew, Brian, Zoe, Leah, Naya, Michelle, Brian, these people took care of me. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here right now. So I just wanted to have a moment with you guys, as much as this is a moment for me and my family, and as much as this is a moment for me and my new family that I've just grown to love over the last 3 years, Prince freaking Nana. When I talk about representation, I mean every single fucking time I speak on it. This kid right here that you supported for these 12, 13 years in 1 year, headlined 5 main event pay-per-views. I don't just speak about representation. I go out there and prove the fucking thing. And I only make it as far as because of you people right here chanting whose house. Every single city, every single arena, every stadium, whether it's the United States or if it's in London in front of 50,000, 80,000. I don't care if it's 200. I always want to hear y'all chant whose house. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the merchandise. Get home safely. And one last thing, just for my own amusement, fuck Booker T. Booker did respond to this on the Hall of Fame podcast, saying that he feels that Tony Khan would be upset in the fact that Swerve made this about him, and that headlines have been talking about him saying fuck Booker T, and that he needs to learn his lesson and leave him the fuck alone. And Booker did get some chance of Swerve, we coming for you, when he came out on NXT on Tuesday. So the Swerve and Booker T rivalry, it lasted one more week than I thought it would. I thought it was a 9-9 knockout, a double knockout, where both of them punched themselves in the face with the first go around with the Vlad TV interview, and then Booker's response shitting on all the black talent in WWE. And then Swerve had to drug it up by saying the fuck Booker T line, which I did laugh about, but still, I don't know if it was the right moment to bring him up again. What did y'all think?
It wasn't it's one of those things where it's like it wasn't the right moment, but Swerve was gonna swerve, so I was like, it is what it is. And Booker was gonna respond. I think Booker, sometimes he has a bad habit of that, where he says, I'm not gonna do this or that, but then he does it anyway. So he responded to it, and then you have those dorks in the NXT show, like doing another 2 weeks in a row. They put somebody from AEW over, and I'm like, oh, great job, guys. Because I think they also even chanted "fuck Swerve," and it's just like, all right, guys, cool. Like, you guys making it about yourselves, I guess. Cool, like, all right, cool. The week before it was about Tony Khan. You put over Tony Khan, and then this week they put over Swerve. So I don't know who's going to be in the next episode. I look forward to it.
What about you, JJ?
I just thought it was random and funny. like this man just got emotional about his whole journey, and being the representation of a company, being a black champion, headline and all these pay-per-views, and he has become massively over. He's one of the most over people in the entire company, and he's thankful for that. And then he just puts a name on a bullet and just shoots it. He just put the name on the bullet. Like, it was so random. It was funny. Booker T is he's gonna book a T at some point. Like, it's gonna be on an NXT random episode where you have probably somebody like a Trick Williams come out, and he'll reference him as a real black champion, unlike some other people. Like, he gonna book a T. Like, he gonna do something slick, and he gonna do something that's just annoying and slick, but it's gonna be right up his fucking alley, and he's gonna just be him. And obviously I know I'm not the biggest Booker T fan at all, so he's just gonna Booker T and whatever the fuck he says, shucky ducky quack quack, and he's gonna I like all that bullshit, but whatever. Whatever Booker's response is gonna be some shucky ducky quack quack type shit.
Yeah, it's Booker T. It's Booker T. I just didn't want Swerve to bring it up again because, like I said, it was a double KO from the first round, so we just needed to leave it at that.
Yeah, he's just giving Booker T unnecessary attention right now. Like Booker T doesn't,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like Swerve don't need anything to do with somebody lesser than him. Swerve Strickland is up here.
Yeah.
Booker T is trying to find the surface of the fucking ground, and Swerve gave him some fucking seeds to come out of the fucking grass, and now he's gonna fucking try to come up out of the fucking dirt.
Yeah, it was just crazy because the whole thing, you know, because I don't know if you're familiar with JJ. Basically, the whole thing happened because of the Vlad TV interview and all that stuff. So Booker T responded to that, and Booker T kind of wasn't being 100% truthful of what he was saying. And then, you know, people dragged him because of something else that came up. I'm not gonna get into it because we did last week. But
yeah, we've gotten into it now. This is 3 weeks in a row of the Swerve TV interview,
and it's just it's again it's one of those things where clearly both of these guys, there's a clear issue with them, and I don't think could it get resolved. I think it could get resolved in its own way. Is it going to? Probably not. And it's just one of those things. If somebody takes a shot, then somebody, they're going to clap back, in this case, Swerve says something, but then, the NXT crowd kind of just made it about themselves because they have no lives. And that's just all it was going to come down to. The crowd is just going to do something again, probably, and it just makes them look more dumb for doing it. Cause it's just like, guys, you have a roster full of good talent on your show. Focus on that instead of people outside of the company, because the AEW crowds, regardless of what people want to say about the AEW fans or crowds, they don't do that shit on the shows. And I just want that consistency with NXT crowd.
And mind you, the shot that Booker T is going to send is going to be like completely it's going to be unthought of and it's going to be unintentional. But he's just going to be an old man and he's just going to say something mad random that's going to be directed at him.
No, yeah, and it's just funny because he's the type of guy that would complain about it, but it's like, bro, you just did it, like you said it, and then you're complaining that people are shitting on you for it.
And the execs like Sean, they probably talk to him like, listen, man, that play, whatever's happening ain't never gonna happen. So just leave it alone, don't talk about it. But he gonna book her, he gonna do whatever the fuck you want.
He's got to get his clicks for his website, for his podcast. But I said it last week, I'll say it again. These niggas are one and the same. They don't care about representation. They don't care about their brothers. They care about themselves. So if you're defending Booker T, you're gonna look dumb. If you're defending Swerve, you're also gonna look dumb because they don't give a shit about any of us.
And that's why I called it funny, because you're not representing any of us on this screen right here. Like,
no.
You know what we would have to do if we want to get in contact or if we want to do anything that associates with them? We have to pay them.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
We gotta pay them.
Yeah.
So,
one final note. One final note on AEW Dynasty. It did do pretty good business. The Wrestling Observer newsletter had some details on the attendance and pay-per-view buys for Dynasty. The show had an attendance of 7,921 fans in Philadelphia. It did not sell out as there were just under 400 tickets left. However, there are tickets that opened up late after production moved in. It was still the normal amount of tickets that would be available for a TV wrestling show. As for the buy rate, the exact number is unknown at this point, but it's believed that it had between 110,000 to 120,000 buys, around the level of last year's AEW Dynasty, which did 122,000 buys. So good business as far as the pay-per-view buys and everything else, but we'll see what the aftermath, we'll see what this follow-up continues on with Dynasty and everything else concerning it. And we got the first bit of fallout from AEW Dynamite this week. AEW Dynamite was up in the ratings. They did 659,000 viewers following up from Dynasty. The show featured Jon Moxley beating Katsuyori Shibata in the opener. Post-match, the Young Bucks came down and explained that they cost Swerve Strickland the AEW World title for two reasons. One, for their best friend in the world, Hangman Adam Page, who never wanted Swerve to win the title ever again. And two, as a peace offering to Jon Moxley and the Death Riders wanting to join forces with the group. Matthew and Nicholas asked Mox to come back out, but that got them their former best friend and elite member, Kenny Omega, instead. Omega, though, went on to cut one of the most bizarre promos I think that he's cut in a very long time, comparing the Bucks to Shih Tzu dogs before wanting to fight them, getting Kazuchika Okada coming out to make it a 3-on-1, but the attack never went down as Swerve Strickland came down to run off the Elite and fist bump Omega to tease a possible alliance between the two. Pac would then attack Swerve to set up our next matchup that saw Swerve Strickland beat Pac in a shortened matchup due to Pac suffering an injury, a freak injury on a buckle bomb. After that, though, we had Hangman Adam Page. He was seen backstage going to Swerve's locker room where he confronted Prince Nana and told him to let Swerve know he wasn't trying to help him at Dynasty and warned him to stay out of his Owen Hart Cup matches. Prince Nana tried to apologize to Hangman, but Hangman says, "You don't have the right to do it." And then later in the show, you had the Ops defeated the Death Riders in a decent main event. Post-match, the D-Riders laid out Hook before Samoa Joe cut a promo challenging them for the AEW World Trios Championships. Joe with a good promo here as the Ops stood tall to end the show. You also had MJF once again tried to join the Hurt Syndicate, only for Bobby Lashley turning him down. But MVP suggested that they do thumbs up or thumbs down for MJF in the Hurt Syndicate, which led to Lashley and Shelton Benjamin giving MJF the thumbs down. Later in the show, MJF confronted MVP about what's going on, which MVP gave him some advice on giving Lashley and Shelton what they want, since this is a business. Will Ospreay, Kevin the Jet Knight, Mark Briscoe, and Speedball Mike Bailey picked up a win over Ricochet, the Beast Mortos, and crew in an awesome $4,000 explosive 8-man tag team matchup to win all the money for their team. You also had the Learning Tree had a meeting on TV time with the Learning Tree, which saw Big Bill stand up to Chris Jericho, but Chris Jericho snapped and said that he's not angry, he's just disappointed in the Learning Tree for losing their AEW World Tag Team title match, as well as failing to help him retain the ROH World Championship at Dynasty. And he says until he doesn't feel disappointed, he says that it's best that he leaves. More on that in a bit. And finally, we had Chris Statlander. She picked up a win over Thunder Rosa in a very good match to retain to advance in the Owen Hart Foundation Women's Tournament, with Timeless Tony Storm with another hilarious performance on the commentary team as she watched Statlander pick up the victory to move on to the semifinals. I will just put it out there. I did not enjoy this episode of Dynamite. I didn't think that this was the right follow-up to Dynasty. I think that they really needed to hit this one out the park, and they pretty much it was a ground ball to a double play, where the first play was Dynasty, and then this was not a good follow-up. I gave it a thumbs in the middle, but there was just so many off things, like the Omega promo, and the wrestling was better on this show. I love the 8-man tag and the Chris Statlander and Thunder Rosa matchup, but I don't think the follow-up to that show closing angle was strong enough to save it or salvage it for me to be excited. I like the fact that they teased Omega and Swerve working together. That's cool. But other than that, there was a lot of things that just didn't work on this show. JJ, what did you think about Dynamite this week?
Yeah, it was pretty flat. Like to me, it was pretty flat. Like wasn't like, oh god, this show is awful. But at the same time, it was like, yeah, this show didn't really move any needles. Yeah, I do think that the 8-man 400K match was fucking amazing. Like that match was so good. So good. Like, yeah, that's some AEW fun right there. If that is one thing you watch from the show, that match you gotta watch. Like that match was flat out awesome. Even Chris Statlander and Thunder Rosa was really good. Yeah, the Kenny Omega was the worst promo of his I've heard in my lifetime of hearing him talk. Because first of all, I know he's not an animal owner because ain't nobody owning no fucking animal, and they're letting shit pile up in their fucking house. Like,
well, he said that was his friend's dog, with Dookie, which got Dookie.
You're a bad fucking friend if you just keep going to his house and you keep watching that shit pile up. That was
Kenny does have a cat, so
that was stupid.
He probably hates dogs.
Go to the litter box. Cats go to the litter box.
I'm
just saying.
That's what I'm saying. Like he probably hates dogs.
Yeah, that was, and he was starting to go into talking about the fucking Young Bucks and their master bedrooms and their bed facing the fucking like
a cuck chair. He brought up a cuck chair.
And then he was about to get into the OnlyFans account, and then he forgot what he was about to say. Like this was brutal to watch. Like that was brutal. I felt bad for him because it was like, where are you going, bro? Like, what are we it's literally like a drunk friend that comes to your house and he had some bad liquor and he is talking some nonsensical bullshit that you just like, yo, just go to sleep. Just go over there and just go to sleep. Sleep that shit off because that was horrendous.
And like the last time we saw him with the Bucks, they attacked him when he had diverticulitis, and he brought that up. So why are you not like more angry? Why are you trying to make a joke?
And then he's like, "Oh, I'm just gonna fight you," and like just mad casually. And then the Young Bucks thing was just, to me, it was just as bad. Like not
no, I liked them doing it for the Hangman. That part was good.
Wish that, like, if you wanted to do a peace offering for Jon Moxley, just ask the man to stay in the fucking ring. Y'all were literally face to face. Just say, just get a mic and talk to Jon. He was literally right there. You ain't got to call him back out. He was in your face. Like he was in your face. He was not leaving. But Jon, I like that about Jon. Jon was like, man, y'all ain't about shit. I'm out. Y'all ain't about shit. I'm out of here, man. Like y'all back to y'all old usual bullshit. I'm getting the fuck out of here, man. Y'all over here gonna waste my time. I'm gonna go take a shower and get the fuck out of here. Like, but yeah, I mean, but the show, like, and the Chris Jericho segment, again, something way too long, and hope I never see it again. And
it has to be about Jericho, even though like they presented it, the first part of it with Big Bill standing up. I was like, oh man, this is great. We're actually gonna get some progression. Nope, it's about Jericho. Thanks.
Yeah, but there's just too many like meh moments to be like, yeah, this show was like any like good, but it's something that you saw, not gonna be the worst thing that you saw. I mean, because the show happened 2 days later that was really like fucking piss poor. So yeah, so there's worse. There's worse than what we saw.
True. That is also true. That is also true. Like you said, I think that the $400,000 matchup was awesome. The Chris Statlander and Thunder Rosa match was very good. And Toni Storm, oh my god, we just need her to be a commentator.
Amazing. Oh my god. Like these last like couple years of Toni Storm, man, I'm just glad I'm alive for it because she's incredible. She's just so incredible.
And the best angle or promo that they did on the show was fucking MJF in the Hurt Syndicate. I'm sorry. Bobby Lashley had me dying with him looking at MJF.
His expressions was probably my expressions. Like this might come off as a little unsensitive. I'm like, man, get this fucking crack out of here, bro. Like
he don't got the complexion, MVP. I just want him to say it.
That motherfucker don't belong here. That motherfucker get one shade darker. He gonna look like Terrence from Florida. Like, get the fuck out of the tanning bed, bro. Like, you get a shade darker, you gonna look like Terrence.
Josh, any thoughts on Dynamite this week?
I actually kind of agree. I kind of gave it like a 6 because, there was something with the show. It was like, it's not a terrible show, but then it's like, it's definitely off. Like, there's things that were off. Like the Kenny Omega stuff, he started okay, and then he just went completely off the rails. I'm just like, damn, bro, like, what are you doing? Like, some of the stuff he said was funny, don't get me wrong. And then he even got the fans to chant Dookie because he was talking about like how the dogs are shitting, and then the fans started chanting Dookie.
Yeah,
the Young Buck stuff was fine to me. The reason for Hangman I thought was hilarious. Because a lot of people forget, I was like, like Hangman and the Bucks were kind of like on the sort of on the same page, and then they took a hiatus. But besides that, the 8-man tag, the $400 K match, that was fun. That was best match of the night. Thunder Rosa and Statler was actually a great match. I thought it was a good match, and then I think Tony Storm made it better.
Yeah.
The shit she was just saying. And what made it funny is that the commentators broke character like 3 times. I don't know if you guys
they couldn't handle themselves.
Fucking Taz was the main one, because Taz was like, he was trying to talk, and then Taz just kept laughing to the point that even after the fact he was still laughing. And then he even says it. He's like, I can't right now. He's like, oh my God.
He says shit that you cannot repeat. You cannot repeat the shit that Tony's
Yo, they broke. Yeah, Joe, it's funny because I wrote a status about it, and I said I seen enough. I said, "Time Tony greater than Kill Tony." So that was great. It was like she did what we'll get into it, but she did something that probably was supposed to happen on Monday, and it was a shit show. But besides that, going back to the $400 K match. It was hilarious when Ricochet got smacked. I love the fact that they're making that a bit now for the matches, the smacking. It's hilarious, and I think he's doing very well with that. But then also, the thing that was kind of underrated too for me was the segment with all 4 guys when they were talking about how they were going to spend the money, and then each guy gave like their answer, and then
Kevin Knight
said,
I'm going to Magic City.
He's at Magic City, and then fucking Mark Briscoe, like being like the hype man, kind of gets normal, and he says, "I'm looking to invest in my portfolio.
I'm looking to diversify my portfolio."
Yo, and I was like, "What?" Because they didn't expect him to say that, so that made it funny. Like stuff like that made this show, I thought, pretty good when it comes to like not complete dud. But everything else, like the mega promo itself, I thought was just kind of like, eh. The finish, the final segment, I thought it was like, I like the fact that they're using the ops more, but it didn't, kind of just felt flat for me. And I like Samoa Joe. I love Samoa Joe. And I do like the pairing of the 3, but knowing what we know now with Pac's injury, because we don't know what's going to happen with that. They challenged for the trios title, and it kind of made it awkward for me because I'm just like, you motherfucker, like, I was like, you might not have one guy to wrestle in that match, so I don't know.
Yeah, we shall see, but we should bring that up as it was on Dynamite that Swerve and Pac match was cut short. As previously reported, Pac suffered an injury on Wednesday night's episode of Dynamite. During his match with Swerve, he took a buckle bomb in the corner, and after which he rolled to the outside and was checked on by officials. The injury is said to be a legit one, as PW Insider reports that the injury is believed to be ankle-based, but there is no confirmation on that yet. The AEW World Trios Champion was spotted leaving the show on crutches Wednesday night, so this injury bug, we talked about it last week with Switchblade Jay White, Orange Cassidy, Mark Davis going down with injuries, and now possibly Pac, which this is going to throw the whole trios division up in a flux, because you literally did last year when someone got injured and was trios champion, the trios champions was stripped of the titles. Are you going to do that again now with the Death Riders? Because no matter what they do, it's going to get some heat on AEW, because you either have to keep the same energy and you have to strip the Death Riders, which is going to hurt the story, which is already on Death's doorstep, basically, or you're going to keep the titles on them, and then you're going to have a whole bunch of people like, why y'all not keeping the same energy that y'all did just last year?
Yeah.
Well, good thing for the Death Riders, they got an extra member that they can just have as a replacement champion, which means
But they can't do that. They can't, because they didn't do that last year. Because Bullet Club Gold, Jay White went down. You could have just had Juice be the replacement, but they decided to strip them of the titles.
That's fucking dumb. That was dumb.
Yeah, they did that. Yeah, that's what happened. And now if you go, you kind of, I mean, at this point, if it's legitimate, then you're gonna have to do the same thing, because people are not gonna forget. The internet doesn't forget. The internet does not forget. Yeah, so
Nope.
I don't know.
It ain't that hard.
But this is the thing. We literally said this last year. We literally shitted on AEW, and not only AEW, we shitted on Christopher Daniels because they made him be the one who made that decision. It was a dumb decision there, and now they're gonna pay for it this year.
Yeah, and then they haven't even really clarified, hey, is it a broken ankle? Is it a sprained ankle? Because if it was a sprained ankle, then obviously that's the best case scenario. But besides that, I mean, if it's something you got to take the belt off, don't do like what NXT did. If it's a situation where he could just rest. Because they haven't defended the trios titles in a while anyway, so.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, then they defended it at Dynasty, so but
before that, there was a big gap where it was just they still got the titles. So
they reintroduced the titles to the television world.
They weren't even coming out with the titles at one point. They weren't even coming out with the belts.
Exactly,
they weren't. Exactly. So it's again, but if it's legitimate, then they're gonna have to do the same thing that they did last year. I think you'll get less complaints, because it's all right, they did the same bullshit, so all right, just go for it. But then if they go another route, you're gonna see the discourse. It's gonna be a madhouse on that.
Yeah.
They will probably literally told guys, when you guys are on your way back, just remember to get that title out of your closet. We're gonna use it this week.
Hey, remember, you're the trios champion. Oh,
yeah, it's you still got it. Shit. You still got it, and then oh shit, I don't remember where I put it at.
Damn. Totally forgot. But someone who might not be on AEW television for a while is Chris Jericho. As first, his run with Ring of Honor is expected to be largely over now, according to a new report. And as reported before, Jericho went off on the Learning Tree stablemates on Dynamite after he lost the ROH World title to Bandito at Dynasty, and said that it was best that if he went away for now. Fightful Select reports that the plan has been for Jericho to finish up with ROH, and that he's expected to mostly move on from Ring of Honor. The report notes that Bandito has been planned to be Ring of Honor World Champion for some time, ever since he returned to the company, but he had a number of hurdles, including suffering an injury at Final Battle. AEW and ROH had been steadfast that Bandito would become the champion and lead the company. Jericho, though, is set to go on tour with Fozzy, but only one of his dates is on a Wednesday, so he could realistically still be able to work with AEW if he needs to. The Wrestling Observer newsletter reports that the tour was set up with plans for Jericho to still appear on Dynamite. However, following Dynasty, he feels that it's the right time for him to take a break. There is currently no word on how long he'll be out or when he'll be back. It's likely that won't be discussed until it's time for a surprise return. Dave Meltzer Meltzer also suggested that Jericho's contract is about to expire sometime this year, and that it might be the right time for Jericho to return to WWE.
God.
So, I mean, I think that would be a net positive for AEW, though. I'll just say that.
Oh,
I think that's about it.
But he's gonna waste time on another show.
I'm like, but going back to WWE is like, I don't know about that. I wouldn't even want that for WWE.
Yeah,
I don't see Triple H using him because Triple H has shown he doesn't really fuck with the old niggas.
Yeah, but then also I don't know how their relationship is, and I know Jericho has been kind of like not shitting on WWE the last few years, but he kind of hasn't really done them favors for him to like come back
about them.
Yeah. So it's like, I see him staying with AEW. It's just a situation where Dave was like, "Oh, he go back to WWE." I'm like, don't even suggest that, bro.
I'd be totally fine with that because I want AEW to be better. AEW being better means that WWE will step their game up. The fact that AEW is doing the shit that they're doing right now is probably another reason why Triple H is not even trying anymore.
It could be, or it's just Triple H is just bad.
We've established that Triple H is not the best booker, even though people want to say he's the greatest booker of all time.
Yeah. So the best news I got out of this whole bit was Jericho's taking a break, which means we're not getting Jericho segments on TV for a while. So thank the Lord for that.
He kind of needs to at this point because ever since he's been in AEW, he hasn't really taken like these long hiatus breaks, and I think not only is the right time, but
we need it.
We need it. We definitely need it.
We deserve it.
No, we do, man. We do it. And it's just like because with Jericho, like it's not even just like about the on segment stuff and everything. It's just even the perception of him now because of what happened, almost 2 years ago. People just haven't looked at him the same. And I'm like, I just need a break from that at this point.
Yeah. We all do. We all need a break from Chris Jericho right about now. So yeah, I hope that he's away for a while, not just like, oh, he comes back next week and it's like, oh, you see,
that's some bullshit. Bro, like, that's some bullshit.
Just take a break until like Full Gear. Like we'd be good. We'd be good with that.
Full, that's generous. I was gonna say next year's All In, but I guess that's
listen. If it is, I think that's a stretch because he ain't gonna take a break from that.
I know.
He ain't gonna take a break from the camera for that long. So I'm just hopeful for at least like Full Gear or some shit, and that's probably asking for too long.
And watching stuff is correct. He recently did an interview where he said he's now open. He would consider he said he would consider having a run in WWE and he would consider not having a run in WWE. So he's keeping his options open because he knows he's about to get into contract negotiation season.
Well,
yeah, that's probably just him. But that's probably just him, playing the field. He's doing what Randy Orton did. Randy Orton used AEW to get a bigger contract. So that's probably what he's doing.
And also the WWE, they're going to have to want you.
Yeah. And they don't need them. That's the thing.
They don't need them. Not at all. Not at all.
they don't need them.
It's not even close. He's got a wish upon his star. If they didn't need Cope or Bobby Lashley, they don't need you, bro.
Especially Bobby Lashley, bro.
That was a big. I felt like that was a big fuck up on their part because Bobby Lashley could have still contributed to over there in WWE.
Yeah, still over.
Look at the whole.
He was still over with the crowd.
Look at the whole.
Every time he came out, he was still getting the biggest cheers.
People still mad that the Hurt Business broke up.
Yeah. That could have been one of his things that he brought back and was like, "Look at me, I'm good, I'm great, guys, right? I'm good for you guys." So didn't happen. Finally, with AEW, Finally, with AEW, before we get into Collision from last Saturday, Shelton Benjamin recently did an interview with Huge Pop where he revealed that he had how long his current deal with All Elite Wrestling will last. He signed with the company last October, and he noted that his deal for the company is for 3 years. This means that it will expire sometime in October of 2027. I really feel like out of all of the Hurt Syndicate, the one that has benefited the most, I think the most entertaining has been MVP, and Bobby Lashley is picking up the pace now. But the person who has benefited the most from the Hurt Syndicate coming into AEW has been Shelton Benjamin. He was presented like a monster in his first few months, and he's been on back-to-back pay-per-views after not being on a WWE pay-per-view for 4 years.
Dude, how many years, SP, have we clamored for this guy to get something? Years. Anytime we've ever even talked about him, it's been years to give the man something. Never got anything. Goes to AEW less than 6 months in. This man looks like he belongs and is a goddamn star in there with few words.
Yep. I even liked him calling MJF Little George Costanza on Dynamite. That was great.
That just makes me so happy for guys like Shelton Benjamin. Like, I love seeing that. And then, like, the biggest smile on my face over the weekend was seeing fucking Kevin Knight going head to head with Will Ospreay, bro. That was like, oh, that was so satisfying to you know, chopping it up with him, meeting him and everything, and being in such a small place and, you know, wrestling in, you know, such a low market. And then now look at him, like literally the Jet. Now he's improved so much in the ring. Like this guy, like it's great to see. It's great to see.
Yeah, I got to talk to him this week with Sports Illustrated, and I brought up that when we met him back in 2022, and he actually remembered, because I was like, yeah, we were with the wrestling club, and he was like, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I want to go visit the wrestling club and talk to those kids again, because that's just a great feeling. And we should note that he actually confirmed his contract status with me during the interview with Sports Illustrated. He revealed that he signed a dual deal, basically, with all Elite Wrestling and with New Japan Pro Wrestling. So he's basically got he's 2 contract jet now. He's got a contract with AEW and NJPW.
He didn't need no fucking tryout. You see, he didn't need one.
See, I mean, sometimes your eyes just don't see the right thing, and clearly, thank God AEW's did, because he's in the right place. He's totally in the right place.
Definitely. This is what his career needed. He's getting a spotlight put on him that wasn't there before.
And I love the reactions he's getting. Just love the reactions he's getting. He's getting such love from the people so far.
AEW Collision last Saturday, the show did 335,000 viewers. The show featured Athena and Giulia Hart defeating Mercedes Moné and Harley Cameron in a very good main event to preview the Owen Hart Foundation Women's Tournament. You also had Pac. He picked up a victory over Cash Wheeler in a good matchup, previewing the Trios title matchup from Dynasty. Speedball Mike Bailey defeated Drilistico in a pretty solid matchup. Post-match, Ricochet attacked Speedball. Top Flight beat Crew. Post-match, you had Nick Wayne and Crew laid out Top Flight and AR Fox. The Don Callis families, Kyle Fletcher and Konosuke Takeshita, they picked up a win over Tomohiro Ishii and Powerhouse Hobbs in an awesome tag team opener. And one final note from AEW, former TNA staff member Josh Matthews was backstage at an episode of AEW Dynamite in Minnesota last month. The Wrestling Observer newsletter reports that Matthews is now working backstage in AEW. His wife, Ashley, also known as Madison Rain, has been working backstage in All Elite Wrestling since August of 2022. So it looks like he's got a new job with All Elite Wrestling. So congratulations to him. I've been seeing Josh Matthews since his days in the first season of Tough Enough. So a familiar face coming into AEW over there. But let's finish off with the Converse. You had Ring of Honor, ROH TV on Honor Club. You had the new Ring of Honor World Champion Bandito beating Jay Lethal in a pretty solid ROH World Title Proving Ground matchup. Dustin Rhodes and the Von Erichs defeated Davey Bang and Violence is Forever. MXN Collection and Johnny TV also picked up a victory in a squash 6-man tag team matchup. Another squash saw Marina Shafir make her return to Ring of Honor to pick up a victory there. And Tomohiro Ishii picked up a win over Preston Vance. So some good stuff over there from Ring of Honor TV, but that is all from the Converse over there. So in case you guys thought that we were just going to be hard on AEW and the Converse this week, don't worry, because there was WWE as well.
There's more.
WWE did not have the best week either. Don't worry, guys. We got a couple of comments to feature first. We got Frantic World saying Kevin Knight getting 2 bags of money. Good for him. I mean, New Japan is not paying the people like they should be paying them. So I'm happy that he's with both promotions, because I didn't want to see him stop working with New Japan Pro Wrestling because he was doing so much. And it was a good sign when he was announced for the Best of Super Juniors, which we're gonna tell you about the lineup for this year's tournament. But I just get that confirmed and everything. That was a good touch. And he also talked about he didn't feel like it was too much of an insult for WWE asking him to try out. And he did confirm in an interview with Adrian Hernandez of Unlikely that he did take the tryout with WWE, and he said it went well. He just chose to go with AEW and New Japan.
I mean, that's a good thing. You know, usually when I'm saying that, it's more of a rib, because it was mad funny. Like the online discourse, they were like, they wanted him to try out. Like, come on, you could just sign the guy. Which I'm on the same boat with that. I was like, he's good enough, just sign him, right? Who gives a fuck, right? All these guys you're signing, they didn't have to try out. You signed into Page, he didn't need to try out. You signed Ricky Starks, he didn't need to try out. Like, you know, guy's good. And I like the fact, too, that even when he first showed up on AEW TV, they present him as a young lion. So the fact that they were still trying to do that stuff, and then he got announced with the juniors, it's pretty cool. I mean, you know, it's a good story when it comes to that, like, where he's at now. Like, he doesn't need to be I'm not, you know, with WWE, but he doesn't need, like, that's kind of an indication of somebody who wants to be happy. He wants to do what he wants to do, and he's doing it anywhere he chooses. And sometimes that's a good thing. You just choose, you know, your path.
Yeah, I'm happy for him. Yeah, it's a big deal for Kevin Knight here. So like we said, we're always gonna root for Kevin Knight and love what he's doing over in AEW land. But let's move on over to WWE. We're gonna start off with last night's WWE SmackDown. The show featured Randy Orton kicking off the show to negotiate getting a WrestleMania 41 matchup with SmackDown General Manager Nick Aldis, which he referenced the fine money that he paid him back in 2023, and even said that he would have to apologize to Mickie James for what he did to Aldis if he didn't get the matchup. Aldis says that he doesn't want his money, doesn't want his apologies. He just wants him to respect him. However, Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga came down to interrupt. Orton challenged them to a fight and got jumped until LA Knight, made the save for Randy Orton to set up the tag team main event. Later in the show, that saw LA Knight and Randy Orton defeat the former members of the New Bloodline. After Solo and Orton fought through the crowd, Knight got the win over Tama, but that left Knight all alone for Jacob Fatu to come in and attack Knight. The show closed with Fatu delivering multiple double jump moonsaults to the United States champion ahead of WrestleMania. The American Nightmare Cody Rhodes cut a promo with every version of the WWE Championship in the ring to hype his WrestleMania 41 main event versus John Cena. Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest hyped their matchup by getting into another brawl following their match being made into a Sin City street fight at WrestleMania. The brawl ended with McIntyre delivering a Future Shock DDT on Damian Priest on top of the steel steps steps and stealing Damian Priest's cross necklace. Then you had Rey Fenix in his second matchup in WWE defeated Berto in a very fun bout. Post-match, Santos Escobar made Berto shake hands with Fenix and also shook Fenix's hand himself. Bailey and Lyra Valkyria beat the Secret Hervis, the Party Girls, B-Fab and Michin, Natalia and Maxine Dupree, and Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler by going coast to coast, wire to wire in the gauntlet match to become the number one contenders for Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez WWE Women's Tag Team Championships at WrestleMania 41. Naomi cut an excellent promo ahead of WrestleMania, as well did Jade Cargill ahead of their matchup. And Tiffany Stratton beat Roxanne Perez in a solid bout. Post-match, Charlotte Flair attacked Stratton from the floor, coming out after a parking lot incident that went viral between the two ladies, but the post-match angle sucked. SmackDown was back to being not so good last night. It was an aberration last week where SmackDown was one of the better shows of the week. Last night, it was a boring ass show. Top guy JJ?
I was hoping that you was gonna let Josh start this.
I can go with Josh. It's okay if you got to get your
No, I don't. I got all my thoughts together. On God, that was a fucking complete waste of 3 fucking hours. An entire waste of 3 hours. And I feel sorry for Cody Rhodes that he was in the middle of that shit that we watched last night. Like, oh my, like there was literally nothing to take home from that. Nothing. There was not a damn thing from that entire show. It's almost literally like they just want to skip that show and just go straight to WrestleMania. This was this was bad. Like watching this, I'm like, yo, why am I wasting my time? Why am I staying up until 11 p.m. to watch this shit? Like, this was such a piss poor effort of a fucking show. Like, you would think that we're like 9 weeks away from fucking WrestleMania instead of 8 fucking days. 6 days, actually. I don't know what happens between the production of SmackDown and Raw, but it is literally like it is 2 completely different companies that is making these shows, and SmackDown just gets the shit end of the stick every fucking week. Like, SmackDown just gets thrown together, and then we got what the fuck we got. Like the Charlotte Tiffany shit was not good. The Cody segment was your rah-rah, cheer me on segment and showing the lineage of the fucking championships. For what? Whatever.
I was like, this is the best we could do with Cody. It was a good promo. It's not among like the top 25 Cody promos I ever heard, but it was good.
It was a rah-rah promo. It was a cheer on. Like, it was like a Rocky promo, basically. Like, it was one of those. It was like one of those, and that's why I felt sorry for him, because he was in the middle of everything else that fucking happened in the show. Like, the Rey Fenix and what the fuck is that guy's name? Berto.
That was a lot of fun.
That was probably the best thing on the entire show. That was like the best thing on the entire show to me. Like, the Priest and McIntyre shit was dumb, in my opinion. Like there was. I could just keep going about how annoyed I was for wasting 3 of my hours last night. Like 3 whole hours. Do you know how much shit you could have done? How much shit I could have gotten done yesterday? And then I could have just went on YouTube and watched highlights. Got that little 15-minute video that goes on YouTube with highlights. That could have been my entire episode of SmackDown, and I would have probably had a better opinion of it. But the fact that I have to waste 3 hours on that shit, like, fuck. That shit was bad. I'm done.
Josh, what did you think about SmackDown?
I mean, I didn't like it. That's for sure. I thought last week's episode was better. Yeah, it just seemed boring, man. It was just like it was like, what the fuck? Like, what was this? Especially when you're supposed to be on the road to WrestleMania. And, and that's another thing, right? And I noticed this, right? That last year, the road to WrestleMania, it was hot, right? People went into it, right? You notice how last year that WWE was bragging about how many sellouts they were getting. They had like how many sellouts? 15, 16, 17 sellouts in a row. You notice how they haven't done that this year? Because none of the shows have sold out. They haven't been sellouts. So that kind of tells you where this road to WrestleMania has been. And last night, I just thought they would kind of just do more because it's like, all right, we all know how to do the SmackDown before WrestleMania. They kind of take it like a WrestleMania Junior kind of approach where like, oh yeah, we're going to put on great matches and stack it up. So this kind of show has to deliver, and it just really didn't do that. It was just like, the whole thing with Cody was fine. I didn't like the fact that he was the whole baby face heel thing. I was just like,
I hate when he talks about that stuff. I hate
it's
it.
just like it's like bro, like come on, like what are you doing? Like stop doing that shit. I didn't like that's the part I didn't like in the promo. The promo itself was fine, but it was just maybe the over pandering he was doing it and then that it was just like, oh, I get it, but it's like I didn't need that. Yeah, I mean SmackDown was just
ass.
Yeah, man. This the orange stuff. It honestly, I would have been like cool with the orange stuff if they would have just made the announcement, like, all right, this is gonna be his opponent. To wait it another week, it's just like, what the fuck are we doing? And
they don't know. They don't know what they're doing. They're all up in the air because of the Kevin Owens stuff.
Yeah, and I get it, but at the same, it's like you kind of had a week, and the fact that you already teased the fact of like the thing between him and Nick, that should have been a thing. But then once like the bloodline came out, I'm just like, oh no, not this shit again, please. Like I don't need to see that again.
It's like they just dig into the same pile of shit, bro, and just fucking throw some water on the shit. The shit ain't gonna dissolve with water, and then they just throw it in our face. Like, yo, this promo would have been 1,000 times better. It would have felt so much better if literally Nick Aldis said the only way that I'm going to get you to respect me, I'm going to come out of this suit for one night only. I'm going to come out of this suit because that's the only way I think you're going to respect me is if we go to battle. And don't be an active wrestler. But it's WrestleMania. Do the one night deal, and that shit would have been much better received than, when you heard Solo's music, literally zero reaction.
Who was the top heel? This was the top heel in the company for months last year, and he gets zero reaction now. And the fact that they had him and Orton brawl to the back, it's like, you're really gonna choose Solo over Nick Aldis? This Nick Aldis thing fell into your lap, and you're gonna choose Solo over him? It seems like.
And it's much bigger
feeling. The only excuse I would have if Nick doesn't go is if he hasn't really like properly trained, because I know he was dealing with an injury, and that's why he was, I want to say fully retired, but he wasn't when he came on board to WWE. He wasn't looking to wrestle right away. But apparently he has been cleared for a while, so he could do something. It's just a matter of if he really wants to go. And I think that match is more, honestly, that'll be more fun to see because we haven't seen Nick Aldis wrestle in a WWE ring. So I think people would want to see that a little bit more. It's just when Solo came out, I was just like, oh, God. No, not again.
WrestleMania.
I was like, not again. Not again, please. And then I started looking. I'm like, wait a minute. I hope Solo already has a match. And then when I noticed he doesn't have a match, I was like, oh no. Please,
how many times have we seen that shit on SmackDown?
I was like, no, I don't need to see that.
And that shit is going to be in Vegas at WrestleMania.
was like, for that, bro, just put it on regular TV.
On
Just
2
put
week
on.
build. and let's not do this in the chat. We love everybody having an opinion, but when you're just being a tribalistic idiot, like this comment from Danny, SmackDown may have been have been good, but it's 1,000 times better than Dynamite. Most of AEW is just pointless matches. There was like all the matches on last night's show were pointless. The tag team main event was fucking pointless.
Yeah,
what are we talking about? That's a horrible comparison. When you're pointing out pointless matches in AEW, but you're not keeping the same energy for SmackDown. Notice that when we criticized AEW, we said nothing about comparing it to WWE. We said that the door was open because the build to WrestleMania had not been good, but we didn't like compare it, contrast, or try to make it better in comparison to SmackDown, which we could because SmackDown is objectively the worst wrestling show in pro wrestling right now. So if you are an idiot and you have your head up your ass and you think that's better than Dynamite, congratulations. I bet the view up your ass, it looks a lot better than what I'm watching on TV.
Oh, shit.
Bro, like, yeah, and it's just shit that I don't understand about. This is what I don't understand about people. We just spent like almost 2 hours like tearing AEW shreds. Just spent almost 2 hours. 2 fucking hours. We get 10 minutes into a WWE show. Oh my God! How dare y'all? Like, bro, it's the same energy. We had a shit week.
We don't need to compare the two when both of them are bad.
I said at the beginning of the show, I was like, it wasn't a good week for wrestling. Like I said at the beginning of the show. But then to try to say like, oh, that SmackDown was 1,000 times better, you're just fooling yourself at that point. Because I'm just like, there was nothing on the show that was like, oh my God. Like what was better on SmackDown? The real question is, what was better on SmackDown that was better than the 8-man tag match that we got on Wednesday?
Please don't answer that.
Yeah, we don't even need to answer that.
I mean, hey, I would love to see the answer because I want to see how stupid he's gonna look. I would love to see that answer. Because I'm like, I want to see what rabbit he puts out of his ass to say some shit.
Like, I got Tom.
I mean, hey, you know, because it's a concept with the same guy. The same guy says some wild shit, and he usually doesn't back it up. He'll say his probably 1 or 2 comments that are just really bad comments, and then he'll probably run like a little bitch like he does, you know. So it's just like, hey, I'll answer you. I'm like, hey, I asked a question. I would love for him to answer if he could answer that, because I just want to see how stupid he's gonna look with his response. Like I just want to see it.
Yo, people just talking, bro.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's what we're forced to have.
SmackDown was bad, and honestly,
it is possible. It is possible that both things can be bad. We don't have to compare the two. Both of them were pretty bad.
Over anything with AEW this week, nothing was glazed on. You know, there was no glaze fest over any of these shows. But when one is the worst of the 3, it's gonna be said.
SmackDown was bad.
And SmackDown has been the worst for months now. It is for months now.
It drags. The problem is the 3rd hour drags, but then last night everything dragged. That's how you know SmackDown's bad, when everything drags.
3 hours. It does not need to be 3 hours.
Yes.
You know.
If you really want us to compare, I will take a bad 2-hour show over a bad 3-hour show. That's my comparison for this week.
Yo, when you give me an extra hour,
I'm just saying. Like, yo, I'm just saying.
That's why I said I felt bad for Cody, bro.
Even like the tag gauntlet match for the women, right? They have Bayley and this girl facing at WrestleMania for the tag titles. But I'm just like, you telling me like, couldn't get a fucking IC title match at WrestleMania? Like we couldn't just have that separate? Instead, you're putting her in a tag title match? Okay, sure.
I just had to get that out. I hate the tribalistic bullshit.
Oh, and on top of that,
don't bullshit us in our community, please.
And on top of that, we have the SmackDown tag titles. They're gonna be on next week's show and not on WrestleMania.
they had the Miz shit on them for that. It was like the fact that the tag team titles are not going to be defended at WrestleMania, it diminishes the whole division. I was like, yes, you're right. You're actually right. You're supposed to be the heel that lies to us, but you told us the truth.
It's ironic because he's in a tag team with the other guy is like shouldn't be with him. That's the thing.
And then the whole Charlotte and Tiffany, they did a good angle with the whole viral clip of the parking lot shit, and then didn't show it.
Yeah, that was the part that. Yeah, that's the part I didn't understand. That was the part I was like, yeah, you see, like I get the brawling they needed this week, but it still didn't land for me just because I thought they should have showed that because I thought that was better than what they did on the TV.
Yeah, that post-match angle sucked. It was garbage. I was like, what are we even like? What's the point? What's the point of all of this? Like, we're doing a post-match angle that is not a good follow-up to what you did last week. For better or worse, what you did last week got a lot of attention on the whole angle, and then you didn't follow it up really on the show at all.
Shit, it has not been a good week for Charlotte on Twitter either. Somebody made a meme of her, like the Charlotte cycle, and they were like, loses, gets another face lift, comes back, another title match, loses again, like the Charlotte cycle. And I think she commented saying like, oh, you want me to oh, how much you want me to talk about like how about like your face or some shit like that. And then the dude said, well, at least my face is real. And I was like, oh damn, Charlotte, like fuck, like he just owned you, like bro, like damn.
But here we are.
Yeah.
And watching stuff says, why would you in story bash Street Profits for a decision by the booker? Exactly. That was like I literally had to message y'all in the chat. I was like, why did they just crap all over it? Like, you're already you made the decision where Street Profits versus I don't think that should have been the tag team title match at WrestleMania, because you've been building this whole tag team division as all these teams are intertwined with one another. It's all chaos. So it probably should have been a multi-team ladder match. And like, that's why I put on Twitter as well. I was like, I think we've had enough time. It's been a year now. They made a huge mistake at WrestleMania 40 by splitting these tag team titles.
They did.
If both tag team titles are not on the line at WrestleMania, then it was a mistake to split those tag team titles.
Yeah, and I mean, even so, like it's cool that New Day is getting a WrestleMania match, but the whole point of Motor City Machine Guns being signed was like, oh yeah, they're gonna get these guys and straighten up the tag division, and I haven't really seen that, unfortunately. Street Profits is getting the push. I think a lot of people are happy about that, but at the same time, you're putting them on SmackDown before WrestleMania.
And it's the craziest thing is SmackDown has had objectively the better tag team division than Raw. How does Raw get their tag team titles on WrestleMania, but SmackDown doesn't?
Yeah, and they have, and that's why it's kind of just weird, like the way they've been using it. It's just like, even like before the big PLEs, their focus was they put the matches before, like on SmackDown before the big PLEs. I'm just like, if you want this division to matter, they gotta get like those big moments. Like you have two nights. You're telling me that couldn't be on one of the cards?
Weird. It's so weird, but it's probably not as weird and not as much of a train wreck as the whole situation with Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair. Last week's episode of Friday Night SmackDown featured a promo segment between Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton that allegedly went off the rails. Stratton made a reference to Flair being 0-3 in marriages, which was later deleted on all of their social platforms and YouTube. The comment seemed to rattle Flair, who got off a comment about Ludwig Kaiser being in her DMs as Stratton left the ringside area. At the time, it was reported that most of the segment ended up going off script, with Stratton retaliating for Flair running her over in a previous segment. PW Insider reports that several sources claim that the segment went off the planned course for the show, indicating Charlotte and Tiffany's personal shots were unscripted. Additionally, WrestleVotes reported that the Friday night show that both women said very little of what was in the rundown for them, adding that they both went off script quite a bit. According to PW Insider, it's believed that Tiffany Stratton made the remark in retaliation for how Charlotte ate her up during a previous SmackDown TV segment between the two. Others thought that Stratton stood up for herself to get the spotlight put back on her in front of a pro-Stratton crowd in Chicago. Others are said to have believed the segment went awry towards the end and that it didn't help anyone. Several people also reportedly noted that Charlotte was thrown by the reaction of the crowd, which allowed Stratton's insults to hit harder. One source claimed that Charlotte Flair's comment about Ludwig Kaiser after Stratton rolled out of the ring and started exiting appeared like a frailing shot from a boxer who didn't realize they were KO'd, and that Charlotte was obviously gotten to. The personal insults were later edited from the segment on WWE's YouTube channel. Another report had additional details on the backstage reactions to the segment. Fightful Select has more details on it, saying that according to the site, the editing of the comments out of the digital version was a specific directive, and that Devin Printo was listed as the segment's writer. Though nearly everyone believes it didn't go down the way that it should have, it was noted that Flair didn't appear to be pleased backstage, although there were no other altercations between the two, and management wasn't happy with either of the two. Several people pointed out that Flair is known to call audibles in promos and matches, and that Stratton had to quote-unquote fight back after the promo the previous week. One talent said that going up against Flair the way Stratton is can be intimidating, but it's something that every talent has to be willing to do in order to not get run over. Several members of the roster said that WWE and the two women should lean into the situation now. At least one source near Stratton said that Flair went off script first and that Stratton was fighting back, claiming that Stratton was trying to avoid escalating the situation when she left the ring after referencing Flair's divorce. Fightful Select reports that it hasn't altered WWE's planned course of action. The outlet reports that in response to inquiries about how the segment may have led to adjustments, sources in the company said that the creative direction hasn't changed in regards to the result of the WrestleMania 41 matchup. The sources did not indicate who was going to win, and talent are not usually informed of who is going over until the day of the show. The report added that there isn't a heavy amount of concern that things will get out of hand between the two once they face off, with the match expected to be part of night one of WrestleMania, which was confirmed on SmackDown last night. The Wrestling Observer newsletter had a contrary report saying that, noting that most, if not all of the segment actually did happen as it was written. The Wrestling Observer newsletter notes that the two have had issues backstage for a few weeks now, stemming back to the split screen interview. It was believed that Flair steamrolled Stratton in that and made her look bad. This segment was written with the idea that Stratton would be getting payback. Most of her lines, including the one about Flair being a failed volleyball player drinking in her daddy's basement, and no matter how many titles she wins, she'll never be Ric Flair and never win over the fans, were in the script. The volleyball line in particular is one that Stratton wouldn't have come up with on her own, as she wouldn't know what Flair was doing at 25. It was written to appear like it was a shoot, and sources say the entire segment went as planned even after there were reports of it going off script early. Other sources, however, suggest that there is heat on both women, especially Flair. Flair seemed to get thrown off by the Chicago crowd booing her so much, and Flair mocked Stratton's voice, which wasn't scripted, and that's when Stratton basically changed the course and went off script as well. The moment when Flair stopped and offered to give her the last word also wasn't planned. Stratton then gave her the 0-3 line and left the ring like a heel would. She reportedly did that because she didn't know what Flair's reaction was going to be. One source said that even that line was scripted by others with more inside knowledge, but others with more inside knowledge said that it wasn't. Flair's mention of Kaiser was likewise not planned. One source noted Charlotte has been trying to rattle Tiffany. Standard stuff. Cena does it, Randy does it. Young talent coming up, you put a little heat on them as a test to get them to either sink or swim. Well, Charlotte has fucked this whole program by not adjusting. Friday night, she got stuck, and that Chicago crowd ate her up because they can see she's doing more than business. She's trying to embarrass Tiffany. Another source added, once Charlotte let the fans get to her, that's where it all fell apart. She gave up and said the line, Tiffany, you can have the last word, because she was done with the fans at that point. The 3 minutes prior to that was scripted. The 25-year-old drinker was scripted. The 4-3 Mania record line was scripted. Tiff stumbled over a word, and that's when Charlotte took a personal shot at Tiffany's voice. That was a shoot. 16 more days being called a Nepo baby was also scripted. Charlotte screaming Nepo Queen was not scripted. Most of the sources agreed that Flair is getting most of the blame for the segment falling apart the way that it did. However, sources noted that both women had their own part in it, and one veteran suggests that before it was limited story with a weak build, and now was very substantial. So my question to you, we'll start with Josh here. Do you think that this train wreck of a promo last week has helped the Tiffany and Charlotte build to WrestleMania? And how do you think this whole match will go down at WrestleMania? Will they stay on script, or will that also go off script?
It hasn't helped at all. not one bit. To me, it kind of just went left for me the moment that they thought Charlotte was going to be a babyface, and then the fan perception wasn't what it was. To me, that's where things kind of just like went off a cliff when it comes to those two ladies working together and the buildup. As far as the match goes, I mean, I would hope so. I mean, I've seen incidents where Charlotte would go into business for herself, and then when it comes to the match, she goes by the book with the match. Perfect example, Becky Lynch. She had that moment with the belts, and then when they actually work together, have a match, end up being a great match. And I hope it's the same way. I'm gonna give them benefit of the doubt and say, like, I don't think they go off script during the match, but if shit goes left, I think we're at a point where Tiffany has shown she's gonna fight back. As you know, as we've seen with the promos and stuff, apparently Charlotte went off script first, so Tiffany follows suit. People are blaming Charlotte for it. I put more of the blame on Charlotte because it's just she's a veteran. She should know better at this point.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff that she did was just not only unprofessional, but then it's like, that crowd ate you the fuck up. The moment that you gave them that crowd an out, they fucking shitted on you.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it was. And that was her fault. Like, that was on her because the moment, again, you paused, people started booing you, that's where shit just went left. I'm not saying that Tiffany was right for like the 0-3 line. Like, I think it's fucked up. Nobody, it's fucked up at the same time. Charlotte fucked around and found out.
Yeah. She's addressed it on the Babyface podcast. Says that she felt like Charlotte wasn't Tiffany, talking about Tiffany. She just thought that Charlotte didn't expect her to clap back, but she's going to be ready to fight back if she wants to take it there. So she took it there, and Tiffany answered back in kind. And Charlotte wasn't ready for that crowd reaction, and she sure wasn't ready for Tiffany to bite her the way that she did. Got no one to blame but yourself. JJ, what do you think about the fallout from the segment last week? And we weren't here with us last week. We touched on it a little bit on Rated Raw Review, but your overall thoughts on that train wreck segment from last Friday?
As unintentional as everything seems to be, this has actually helped this match immensely. Because we have not talked about this much, period. Like, this match is now just as talked about as the other women's match. And it's getting attention, whether it's the poorest of the attention or attention, but it is getting a lot of attention now. So in a nutshell, it's helping it. Now, Charlotte, people in general needs to stop being so goddamn sensitive when it comes to people talking about people's lives, because Charlotte Flair is no stranger to calling people peasants, peons, and all of this other shit. And when people decide to fire back at her, now it's, oh, we shouldn't have went that far. Get the fuck out of here. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, and you know how this is where the disrespect started. Is when they had the sit down interview on SmackDown a few weeks back, and Charlotte went and let Tiffany speak.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, bitch, when I get to speak, I'm gonna shoot your ass.
I'm gonna get mine.
And it's like, yo, she took disrespect to disrespectful levels. And as a professional, you need to let your opponent speak back when it's a one-on-one interview. And every single fucking time that Tiffany attempted to speak, Charlotte spoke over her. That's not what you do during interviews. And Charlotte, out of all people, as Josh said, knows better than that. And it's like, no, all of a sudden, you're learning how to now operate in an interview segment. Like, if this was somebody other than Tiffany, you would have let the other woman speak. But now this is a young lion, and now you're kind of, I don't know if you're worried about her or whatever the case may be, or you dealing with your own insecurities. You try to overshadow Tiffany. And yeah, Tiffany did get a little flustered because it's like, yo, what the fuck? Like, we're supposed to have a back and forth segment, and you just took the shit all the way over. So now I got a bullet with your name on it, and you gonna feel it. And that's what the fuck happened. And you know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes disrespect gotta get met with disrespect. Fuck what you heard. And that's exactly what happened. And I ain't got nothing but props to Tiffany for that shit. Because it's like, yo, you gonna hear my voice, bitch, regardless of what the fuck comes out. And that's what came out. And Charlotte got flustered. Ooh, poor thing. Oh, well, this is the fucking bed you created. Now you got to fucking lie in it. And now this has created so much more buzz in this match that it has unintentionally helped this match.
Yeah, I will say I personally do think it has helped as well, because I'm a lot more interested in seeing this matchup than I was previously. Only because there's a chance that it might not go as it was planned. Like that there when you add that element of I don't know what's gonna happen, it does make it more intriguing. I will give it that. Yeah. I don't agree with anyone. I don't agree with anyone who thinks that, oh, the sit down interview was great, because we had those comments and I've seen it on social media. Bad. The sit down interview was great. I don't agree with the people that say that the last week was good. If you think it's good, no, it's not good. It's train wreck TV that you can't keep your eyes off of. So that is a positive to it, and it's made things more intriguing going into WrestleMania.
Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she Charlotte, like, you know, and this is what, like, for example, so like when John Cena when he flamed Roman Reigns, it's because Roman Reigns had the ball in his hand and he absolutely fumbled it. And then John Cena had to recover that entire thing.
Yeah.
Tiffany never had a chance.
No.
Charlotte never gave her the ball. So Tiff was like, yo, there's only one way for me to get any respect from this woman at all, or any attention. And she did what she felt was necessary. And as a grown-up, I respect it.
100%. 100% agree with that. We're gonna see what happens. This is it's a mess right now, but we'll see if they're able to recover it in any way. And I just didn't like the follow-up to it. Like I said, I think if you do the whole viral angle, You've already done a parking lot thing with Kevin Owens last year, and you showed that on TV when the next TV happened. Why couldn't you show this on last night's show? Because just her attacking her after a matchup just came off really lame after the intensity that they brought in that face of that train wreck promo.
Yeah.
We'll see.
But
We'll see
more
what
eyes are on the
happens.
match now. Much more eyes are on the match now. Again, unintentionally, but much more eyeballs are on this match now.
Terrence Sullivan saying Jerry Springer promo. We also got Power Jerry Finisher says, I saw the Jerry Springer post of this segment with the lower third saying, my boyfriend is in my grandmother's DMs.
And I'm just saying, this last 15 minutes talking about the Charlotte and Tiffany shit was way more entertaining than talking about an entire episode of SmackDown.
Indeed. That's what that one segment and how train wreck, how disastrous it was, made last week's SmackDown the best 3-hour SmackDown. I couldn't go to sleep after that segment. My mind was going after that segment. So I'll give it that as well.
Yeah. So I would rather, honestly, really bad shit to talk about and digest than what the fuck we saw last night.
Yeah, like Jimmy said it best on Thursday. He was like, if you can't make it absolutely exceptional, excellent stuff, you got to make it exceptionally bad. And this was exceptionally bad.
Yeah. Which creates conversation.
Exactly. So who do you have winning at WrestleMania, Top Guy JJ?
I want Tiffany to retain. I think they're gonna pull it and have Charlotte pull this off. I think they're gonna have Charlotte win.
Yeah. Josh, what about you?
I'm on the same boat. I think they have Charlotte win. I would love Tiffany to retain and then, work on whatever she could try to fix or work on, because I haven't really liked her title reign to begin with. But I don't think this is a situation where you take it off for her. If you take it off for her, I don't think it does her any favors. Regardless of how over she's been, she's over in a lot of cities when they travel and they do the PLEs. She's over in a lot of places. But I think if you take up the title off of her now, I don't think it's a situation where it makes things better. I think her having the title and then seeing what you could do with it, seeing where she could improve on, I think that will help her a lot more than taking the title off. And then, if you take the title off of her, then it's like, what are you going to do next with her? She is a merch mover, so I don't know. We'll see.
Something tells me that they're going to try to take advantage of that potential nuclear heat that Charlotte could get by holding that title up.
Yeah.
Because people are going to hate that. They're going to hate it.
Yes. That's an understatement.
Yeah. They're going to eviscerate her like when she gets to SmackDown holding that championship up. So,
well, believe me, I don't look forward to it because we're gonna have to deal with somebody being unbearable in the chat. So I mean, I'm not forward to that.
That's the only unfortunate part for me.
Yeah, so instead of hearing it only on Fridays, you're gonna hear it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday as well.
We're definitely gonna hear it on Tuesday. Me and Top Guy, yeah. But I love Top Guy just had the
because it's true. It's true. This motherfucker takes like a month off, and then when she wins the title, he's just gonna say his name and he appears.
I'm back. I also think Charlotte Flair is probably gonna win. I don't think that Charlotte Flair is gonna put over Tiffany Stratton at this point of everything that's happened. It was It was previously reported that Ric Flair stated that he could not appear at WWE WrestleMania 41 due to still being under contract with All Elite Wrestling. However, that may not be the case. The Wrestling Observer newsletter reports that Flair's contract was largely part of a sponsorship deal for his Woo energy drink. He signed a 2-year deal in late 2023. The contract is reportedly not very restrictive, and that if he wanted to do something with Charlotte and WWE, he could. AEW hasn't used Flair since Revolution of last year and isn't likely to use him anytime soon. There are currently no plans for that at the moment, so we'll see. I know Flair was not happy with how that segment went down with Charlotte and Tiffany, so we'll see if he has any involvement after being mentioned in this whole program heading into WrestleMania. And then 2 more notes before we get into Monday Night Raw this week. A follow-up from last week where the big news of the week was Kevin Owens' injury and being out for WrestleMania. The Wrestling Observer newsletter reports that Owens is believed to have had his surgery this past Monday to repair the issue. Surgery to repair neck injuries normally takes around 12 to 15 months to recover from, although there are no other types of surgeries with shorter recovery times. Tommaso Ciampa had neck surgery several years ago with a shorter recovery time, for example. Owens says that he believes that he could be back in as soon as 6 to 8 months, but possibly a year. Owens reportedly wanted to keep the injury a secret until he could announce it, but it was well known that he was hurt and his match against Randy Orton was unlikely. However, then reports came out that was contrary to this, as Fightful Select has confirmed that despite the Wrestling Observer newsletter's report, Owens has not yet had his surgery. The report goes on to say that sources in WWE do not expect him to be back in 2025, and that it's possible that he won't be able to compete by WrestleMania of next year. PW Insider also reports that Owens has not undergone surgery and was seen on Friday morning at Hartsfield Jackson Atlanta International Airport, showing no signs of having his surgery. That would be a huge bummer if Owens is out for another WrestleMania next year, but it's not surprising, and it's kind of what we discussed last week, Josh.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate. The whole thing, I mean, it's unfortunate timing, but, I'm just glad he's doing okay for the most part. He's still, still doing what he's doing. He also did an interview this week with Chris Van Vliet. That was actually a pretty good interview as well. He shut it on the fans and waiting at the airports. That was that was great.
Saw that.
And he responded on Twitter too, so he's been pretty active. He's been more active on Twitter than recently. And I know I did see a Facebook group that wrote that. Like they said, oh, he just got out of surgery. They did like an AI image, which was pretty disgusting. I'm just like, guys, like, stop doing this shit for clicks. This is a real life situation. Like, leave the man alone. When he gets the surgery, he'll get it. I didn't like none of that shit. It's like, that's weird as fuck. Yeah. It's like, just for clicks and views, it's like, stop doing that shit.
Yeah. That's disgusting. Don't do it. And then finally, before we get into Monday Night Raw this week, Fightful Select Sean Ross Sapp has reported that based on multiple sources, both within and close to WWE, that former WWE Women's Champion Kelly Kelly is now believed to be under a WWE Legends contract. Kelly Kelly, real name Barbie Blank, has not competed in a wrestling match since 2022 and the Royal Rumble. Before that, she made sporadic appearances in Battle Royal matches in 2019, 2020, and 2022. She retired from active in-ring competition at the age of 25 in 2012, departing WWE at that time. Since stepping away from full-time wrestling, Kelly Kelly has pursued other endeavors, including work in reality television and acting. So we'll probably see Kelly Kelly make the Hall of Fame before Mickie James.
I mean, at this point, they disrespected Mickie James, so
yeah,
wouldn't be any different.
Wouldn't be surprised. Going over to Monday Night Raw on Netflix, WWE Raw on Netflix last week for week 12 on Netflix did 2.8 million viewers. This week's show featured Adam Pearce opening up the broadcast to announce that Io Sky will defend the WWE Women's World Championship against Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley in a triple threat at WrestleMania 41. This led to Sky delivering a springboard dropkick to Rhea and Bianca following being disrespected by them once again to stand tall with the title. Lyra Valkyria defeated Bayley in a very good bout to retain the WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship. Post-match, Bayley slapped away Lyra's hand before finally hugging her. And of course, we mentioned earlier, the two women went on to win the gauntlet on SmackDown, so they'll be teaming at WrestleMania this year. El Grande Americano teamed up with the Creed brothers to beat LWO in a super fun trios matchup after Americano used a foreign object in his mask. Later in the show, Rey Mysterio went to Adam Pearce to get a match against Americano for WrestleMania 41. The New Day defeated the War Raiders via disqualification in a World Tag Team title match after Ivar used a chair that Xavier Woods brought into the ring. The New Day beat down the champions post-match. Adam Pearce on Friday announced that we'll get the New Day versus the War Raiders for the titles at WrestleMania 41. Penta and Dominic Mysterio had a solid matchup with Penta picking up the victory. Post-match, Carlito jumped Penta from behind, only for Intercontinental Champion Braun Breaker. He came out and delivered one of the most insane spears of all time. This picture right here is one of my favorite pictures that I have now. He also speared Penta and Dirty Dom until Finn Balor attacked Breaker from behind and laid him out to stand tall with the Intercontinental Championship. And then finally, Paul Heyman came out to explain being in CM Punk's corner in the WrestleMania triple threat matchup against Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. This brought out Rollins to manipulate Heyman and bringing up that Roman and Punk don't really care about him, with mentions of Reigns leaving Paul after WrestleMania 40 and allowing the bloodline to brutalize him in front of his kids in his hometown, as well as Punk leaving him 10 years ago and only teaming with the OG bloodline in War Games for the favor that he got. This led to Rollins then offering Heyman to put him out of his misery by stomping him, goading Punk from the back, attacking Heyman. Punk came down and got into a short brawl with Seth, but Rollins got the upper hand by delivering the stomp to his rival. When Heyman checked on Punk, Seth acted like he was about to stomp Heyman before stopping short and saying that Heyman now owes him a favor. These people have heard me and JJ's thoughts on this week's Monday Night Raw. What did you think about the show, Josh?
Show was fine. Raw was it was fine for the most part, I would say, for what I got. It's kind of crazy that this masked guy, this masked racist guy, and is getting a match with Rey Mysterio. Like, he just got there and he's getting a match. That's crazy to me. That fucking insane that insane spear by Braun Breaker. Oh my god. Yo. Damn. Yo. I watched that shit like 20 times already. Like, it doesn't get old. But besides that, yeah, I mean, some of the stuff was solid. The Seth Rollins stuff was hilarious because I was just like, damn, yo, he's still trying to manipulate Paul Heyman. Even though, I mean, he wasn't mostly wrong, but it was just funny he was still trying to do it. And that the fucking bullshit of like, oh, now you owe me a favor, because he fake stomped him. And I'm like, what is going on? Like,
it's not how favors work, Seth.
I was like, you owe me a favor. You're gonna get a favor. You're gonna get a favor. Like, oh god, like, what are you doing here? But besides that, I mean, yeah, Raw was fine. And the downside Raw, which I'm pretty sure is the segment here, was that commentary segment. That was the thing that I was just like, ugh.
Yeah. JJ didn't even want to talk about that on Tuesday.
There was two of them, like, and they had that other fat guy who's not really funny. He's a comedian, and he's not funny to me. He just has like a retarded laugh, and I didn't. It was a waste of fucking time. I was just like, why is he fucking here? It's getting annoying. The whole Netflix stuff is getting pretty annoying. Where it's like they're promoting like the stuff. I 100% get it because of the money they're pulling in and all that stuff. But it's getting exhausting at this point.
I feel you. I feel you. I didn't feel a lot of Raw this week. I wasn't that high on it. I did think that it's objectively better than fucking what we got from SmackDown, to be fair to it. But not by much.
I don't think we've passed like the number 7 on Raw in like 2 months.
Wow.
So
no, we did for the London show. The London show was
okay. So
there was a London show, but the London show was actually really good. That was actually really good Raw.
Yeah, I think I get out of 7.5. I personally haven't given a Raw 8 in a couple months.
Damn. I think I went 7.5 for that one too. Yeah, it's been
it's been a while since
it hasn't been. It hasn't
I think
been.
The Brussels show yet. The Brussels show we gave an 8. I think.
Yeah. Oh, because of the crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah, because of the crowd.
Yeah,
and even that had the ending with the Judgment Day. So
to be honest, like that actually seems very feasible because even when I watch Raw, I guess maybe what I had envisioned for like the Netflix are hyping it up hasn't really been like, it's like, all right, like we're getting Monday Night Raw, but it doesn't feel that much different. Like they have like some of the camera angles, some of the graphics, but as an actual show, we're not getting anything different than we were getting USA.
Yeah, I mean, it is by far the best produced show.
Yeah,
and the aesthetics of it, the look of it, it's the best out of what they got. But like it's been above average. Like it hasn't been like, oh shit, like must see. Like it's been above average.
Yeah. I just can't deal with the nonstop pandering and just fucking all these fucking celebrity guests that they have on the show is disgusting. For the most part. It's
getting annoying. You know what I'm saying? Like it's getting like super annoying, and it's just like, especially when they always have to put a focus on that, like, oh, this person is here. It's like, it's like, come the fuck on. Like we get it at this point. Like, but it's just, I don't know. I've been exhausted for it for a while, so I'm kind of glad other people are starting to see it too, because it's just like, I don't mind it to an extent to certain events, but then when you constantly do it, and then it's like, I don't give a fuck about this at this point. It's like, who gives a shit? And Netflix needs the shit to promote on your fucking own. You have the money for it. Who gives a fuck?
I thought that was what the ads are for. I don't need in ads during the actual show. But here we are. It's WWE.
Raw is still a show. Like if it comes to town, I would consider going. Not SmackDown.
Oh no! As someone that went to both shows at the O2, Raw was light years better than SmackDown.
Yeah, I don't think I would go to SmackDown if I had to pay like $50 for front row. Like I just don't think I would do it. Like that 3-hour torture, like I couldn't do it. Raw, I could go to a Raw and have a good time.
No. Well, talking about some news during a recent interview with Ariel Helwani, WWE superstar and World Heavyweight Champion Gunther confirmed that he has signed a new contract with WWE late last year, and now he's getting a tour bus. He also praised WWE CCO Paul Triple H Levesque, crediting him for saving pro wrestling. Gunther, on signing a new WWE contract and getting a tour bus, he said, I signed a new contract and a tour bus was part of it. I asked for it, and what you don't ask for, you don't get. On when he signed his new deal, he said the end of last year. His thoughts on working for Triple H and how he saved pro wrestling, he said, I would say to a degree, and obviously he's my boss, and I'm in a very good position in the company right now, but I think to a certain degree that he saved professional wrestling to a big degree. I remember when I started in 2005, all the Europeans trying to get into WWE was such a mystery about it. Who to talk to and what to do, it seems so far away and such an unrealistic point to achieve. Hunter was the one who pushed for the opening that world to WWE and created so many jobs and opportunities back then for so many European guys. On how Triple H opened the floodgates for wrestling outside of WWE, he opened up the floodgates for wrestling world outside of WWE. And I think the change has been very positive. It was a big achievement. The business changed since then, and it changed for the better. It's the hottest that it is right now. It all started back then when he started NXT and started working more with guys, the work, the indies and stuff like that. I've always had a very good relationship with Hunter. I love Gunther, but goddamn, that was a lot of glazing. Am I the only one? That was a Triple H. Did Triple H write that down for him?
I mean, he did make him champion, so I guess you do got to glaze him a little bit.
Yeah, that's true. He's been a champion for what, 70% of his run in WWE. So
yeah, I was gonna say a little bit, but goddamn, to say that he saved wrestling, get the fuck out of here. Triple H ain't saying no damn wrestling. He ain't saved the
wrestling is dragging it, bro. Like, dang.
Like, bro,
he made. You know what he has made? He's made it the most expensive. He's made it the most expensive. Like, for fuck's sake, show. Look at them ticket prices.
He said saved, which is kind of ironic because WWE almost killed the fucking wrestling scene in Europe.
Exactly. Like, that was cool. That was a wild statement.
That
was a wild statement. Because I'll give it up to Ariel. Ariel brought up NXT Europe. He was like, remember that?
Like, bro, like, I was like, yo, they almost, because the thing is, in Europe, they don't have a major company like a New Japan or anything. They almost killed it. And I'm like, you talking about he saved it? What the fuck? Like, Thanos going to a planet. Oh, yeah, he killed half the people, but guess what? He saved the planet. What?
I mean, say you saved me. You ain't got not wrestling.
Yeah.
And that'd be more understandable because remember, he never wanted to come to the United States to work. So he could have said that, but to say, like, hey, bro, you bugging.
The industry goes crazy.
The entire business? Seriously? Like, okay, all right. That's a choice. He saved WWE. You could say that. It just feels like WWE, they really want to make Triple H like into one of the GOATs. They want him to be viewed as like one of the greatest of all time. And it's not just the company in general, it's the wrestlers there as well, because he is responsible for the upswing that they're on, but it just goes a little bit too far sometimes for me.
I mean, no, it does. It does.
It's just the gratefulness that people got, I guess, for getting it out of not getting it out of, from inheriting it from the hands of, Mr. Redacted.
Yeah. But that's why kind of like when it comes to Paul Heyman's speech, that's one of the best dislikes I had to his speech from last year's Hall of Fame, where it's like the overglazing of Triple H. I'm just like, yo, like, oh,
I mean, there must be so much more to like how fucked up that man was to the difference that Hunter is compared to what it was. Yeah. It must be so bad to the point of shit that we've never heard. That people are that thankful and that happy that he's running it, because I mean, you don't usually hear this high level of positivity for somebody in that chair. And the positivity in that chair is second to none right now. There must be so much more dirt that we just don't even know about. There must be like so much more.
It's either that or the fact that they know if you talk down on Triple H, you're probably losing your spot. It could be that too.
That too. That could be that one too. Could be that one too. That has a lot to do with it.
People doing a little bit of glazing for an extra little coin, Just a tip.
It's like, you add how many more zeros? How many more zeros? Okay, cool. I'll take it. Oh Nutty says Triple H is used to scrub Vince. Yeah, there definitely are. And we also got Chase in the chat who says Gunther has not held a title in WWE. Has not held the title in WWE only for 384 days. 90% of his run, he's held a belt in WWE. And if you want to include achievements like King of the Ring, it would only be 260 days. That's crazy. That's a crazy stat. That's a crazy stat. So I understand. You know what? I respect the glaze, actually. On second thought, I respect the glaze.
You know what? just to answer that, it's not even close. It's Vince. It's not even close. It's not even close. I'm answering Frantic World's question. Not even close.
He says, Top Guy, who has more dirt on them, Vince or Drake? Yeah, it's definitely Vince.
Not even close. Like, literally. It's not even in the same stratosphere.
Yeah, that's 50 years of dirt, Frantic World. 50. Drake ain't even 50 yet. Former WWE champion Big E appeared on Tuesday's Raw recap show and was asked about a comment made by comedian Tony Hinchcliffe on Monday's Raw. During his appearance as a guest commentator on Raw this week, Hinchcliffe, the comedian who will host the roast of WrestleMania, joked that Michael Cole's stiffness is like Big E's neck. Big E on Tony Hinchcliffe's comment says, I guess at my big age of 39 years old, people will say what they want about you. It has nothing to do with me. It's not my business. Say what you want. He was given a mic. He was given an opportunity. People will feel how they want to. It's just there's a lot of discourse oftentimes as a public figure on how others will say things about you. He says, people will say things about you, whether they're jokes, whether they're not, and that is their right. I think the one thing is I'm on here. It was said on the show, I'm supposed to talk, especially when things are mentioned about me. I should have an opinion on them. It's just, it is tiring to have to weigh in on everyone's opinion on whatever they say. Look, I'm not hurt. I'm good. I want the discourse to be had without me, honestly. I really have no desire to weigh in on this. I didn't sign up for this. I wasn't aware of this. He did what he wanted to. People signed off on it, and it has nothing to do with me, truly. As noted, Hinchcliffe will be the host of the roast of WrestleMania. I feel bad that Big E even had to comment on this shit because this nigga wanted to make a joke about him.
It wasn't a good joke. Like
it sucked. All of his jokes sucked. Objectively, were not funny.
Can we just?
Like he was kind of like trying to go in it at Michael Cole, and it was just like it came off very cringy. With him, it's just, you know what it is, right? I know there's always been a discourse about him. For me, it's more of like I just never found him to be funny. Like he was just never funny. Like he doesn't offend me, but I just don't think he's funny. And then when your edginess overpowers that, then it probably means you're not funny. You know, obviously he had that joke from last year about the Puerto Ricans at that convention, at that famous convention, and you know, for for the Orange Man. But he was not good. It was awkward. And then he wasn't even there for the whole thing. They removed him.
They tried to give him the Apollo hit the music so they know when to leave song, and he did not get the memo.
Yo, like when I noticed that, I was like, yo, he didn't even stay for the whole match. Oh man. And that's why I said Timeless Tony greater than Kill Tony, because Tony Storm did what I guess he was supposed to do, and it didn't work.
He is offending me.
Like,
you're talking about him 3 times in one fucking week. This is offensive. Like, this man, we have talked about this fucking piece of shit too long.
And it's WWE's fault. It's WWE's fault. It's their fault. It is their.
You put him on TV.
Yo, they put him on TV. They're giving him a show, a WrestleMania show at that.
Definitely not watching that shit.
Like, I don't know.
I don't think it's going to be aired. It's not going to even be aired.
Yeah, because the thing is too is like, you know, with WWE, like especially the last few months, they're kind of showing who they lean with, and it's not a good look. It's not good when they're trying to play both sides, and it's like, motherfuckers, we know what you're about. You had Hulk Hogan on January 6th out of all days. Then you have this clown this week, and then you gave him his own show.
You had Andrew Schultz in Madison Square Garden.
You had Andrew Schultz in Madison Square Garden. It's like, you guys, it's not very appealing to me at all.
It's fucking trash.
Why? Can we just move on?
One final note when it comes to WWE to keep JJ sanity. WWE WrestleMania 41 happens next weekend, April 19th and 20th from Las Vegas at Allegiant Stadium. Peacock recently created pages for both nights of the event, listing a 4 p.m. Eastern start time. It was noted that each night is expected to run for 9 hours, including a 3-hour pre-show. However, it should be noted that Peacock typically includes the pre-show in its listing. WWE has already advertised a 7 p.m. Eastern start time for the event. This likely means that the pre-show will be 3 hours in length. And last night on Friday Night SmackDown, WWE announced the full lineup for WrestleMania Saturday and Sunday. WrestleMania Saturday will, of course, be headlined by Roman Reigns versus CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. Naomi versus Jade Cargill's grudge match will happen on that night, as well as the New Day versus War Raiders for the World Tag Team Championships. Rey Mysterio versus El Grande Americano. LA Knight defending the U.S. Championship against Jacob Fatu. Tiffany Stratton defending the WWE Women's Championship against Charlotte Flair, and Gunther defending the World Heavyweight Championship against Jey Uso. That is the lineup for WrestleMania Saturday. WrestleMania Sunday will be headlined by Cody Rhodes defending the undisputed WWE Championship against John Cena. The triple threat match for the WWE Women's World Championship with Io Sky, Bianca Belair, and Rhea Ripley. AJ Styles versus Logan Paul. Braun Breaker defending the Intercontinental Championship against Penta, Finn Balor, and Dominic Mysterio. Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre in a Sin City street fight. And Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez defending the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships against Bayley and Lyra Valkyria. That is the lineup for WrestleMania Sunday. So JJ, you've watched a full week of WWE for this show. Has WWE saved the WrestleMania 41 card in your opinion, now that you know the lineup for both nights next weekend?
I mean, I got the stories that I want. I mean, saved? No. They did no service to it for the entire week of wrestling? No. It's literally the big programs, and everything else was just thrown together. It's literally it. Like, you got your big programs, you got your triple threat, you got your 2 women's matches, you got the Cena and Cody, and everything else is going to happen.
We got Chase, who says WrestleMania Saturday looks like hot garbage. He says WrestleMania Sunday. He says Sunday looks the most balanced of the 2 nights. I'll be honest with you. I think both nights fucking suck. And ironically, even though probably Sunday will have better matches, I'm more interested in more matches on Saturday than Sunday. Sunday, I think that Cody and Cena, of course, is the most intriguing, and Io, Bianca, and Rhea will probably be the best match of both nights. But AJ Styles and Logan Paul, the 4-way for the Intercontinental title, and Priest and McIntyre, they're all going to be good matches. I just don't give a fuck. They haven't gave me a reason to care about any of those matches. I'm actually more interested in seeing Jay and Gunther after them turning around that whole storyline. We didn't even mention Jey Uso's excellent promo on Monday Night Raw this week was back-to-back great segments for the Gunther rivalry. Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair, I'm more interested in that because of I don't know what's gonna happen. And the Roman, Punk, and Seth. Those are 3 matches. And Naomi and Jade. Those are 4 matches I'm interested in seeing on Saturday. There's only 2 matches that I'm really invested in on Sunday.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. When I saw it, I was like, I mean, we had an idea of what the matches were gonna be, but for what's on night 1 and night 2, it's interesting too that they're putting both of the Rumble winner matches on night 1.
Yeah,
that's very interesting. I don't think they've ever done that, from what I understand, right?
And neither is main eventing.
Oh no, wait, they have done that, but it's night 2. They haven't done it night 1. Neither of them is main eventing. You know, I don't know. It's exactly what you said. You think like the matches probably will deliver more in night 2, but the more interesting ones are in night 1. Some of it for good reasons, some of it for bad reasons. So it's like right? Because Jay and Gunther, we're interested because of how the build-up was, and we're gonna see if Jay delivers.
But like I said before, I think they've really turned it around. That promo
the last 2 weeks
on Monday Night Raw,
the last
was
2 weeks
fantastic.
Yeah, the last 2 weeks they have, and I did like the Jay promo. The only thing that almost killed it for me has nothing to do with Gunther or Jay. Is the fucking fact that the fucking fans almost ruined it with the fucking yeet shit. It got to a point that he was trying to tell them to like he was like settle down, like either to stop or because it wasn't like guys, like he wasn't.
I'm talking about my brother being murdered,
and you're like yeet, yeet. Like what the fuck? Like this is not the time to do that. He's trying to be serious, and y'all trying to do the shit. He's not hyping the crowd up. He's being serious, and you're doing some shit like that. What the fuck?
Yeah.
But he handled it well. Jay handled it well. He handled it well, and he actually delivered. That was a really good promo because I was interested to see. He came out in all black too. Like, he came out in all black. Like, you know, he wasn't hype or nothing. So I thought like they did great when it comes to that. Like he did his job. Like he did his thing. When he's serious, when he does like these serious promo stuff, he's actually really good. I think he's pretty underrated when it comes to that because the same thing with the IC title win when he cut his promo, he's being serious. It was a really good promo.
Even the promo he did after the Royal Rumble, I remember JJ loved that one. That was a great promo as well. When he has something to really sink his teeth into, and he can be the Jey Uso character that became a star on his own, he's really good. It's when they try to make him Jey Uso bad wrestler is when and thankfully for me and JJ, they took that whole story away because me and JJ was very adamant and stood on Romeo's neck when he enjoyed that part of the story.
Oh, my God, we eviscerated him for that. We eviscerated him.
Rightfully so, because he decided to die on the hill for whatever reason. I saw that happen.
I mean, looking at the match card too, like if I'm literally like just like rating the match card just like on surface, I'm going like 5.5, 6, or just the match card in general. Like, you know, nothing to like write home about and be like, oh yeah, I can't wait for this card. Oh, yeah, I could do a couple more weeks, but it's happening next week, whether we want it or not.
Yeah.
Whether we want it or not.
I just kind of want this, honestly, I just kind of want this Mania season to be over. The only thing I want to say looking forward to, but then it's like, even after Mania, what the fuck is going to happen? That's going to be the more interesting part, but
yeah.
This was not a good road to WrestleMania. No matter what people try to say, it was not good.
I just hope when the bell rings. I hope when the bell rings to most of these matches that they over-deliver.
I hope they over-deliver. Yeah. I hope they over-deliver, and it's like, all right, we end up getting a good show. Like that's what I hope.
Yeah.
I'm not going into this before anybody wants to talk shit. I'm not going into this to say, hey, I hope the show was bad. Because I generally don't want to watch a bad show. That would be very stupid on my end.
Of their life.
Exactly. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't want to be that guy that like for for click. It's like, nah, I don't want to do that. It's like I want them to deliver. If they could deliver, I'll be fine with that. I'll be happy with that because it's like we're taking our times, and then also for the reviews. Like I'm watching it for the reviews. It's like when I do the review, I'm getting an honest review.
Yeah, I hope it over delivers because I don't think WWE has saved the WrestleMania 41 build or the card. I think that Jay and Gunther is the only thing that I can say objectively they turned around. They turned it around from it being one of the worst things going into WrestleMania to it being like middle of the pack towards the front of the pack. They also dragged down the women's three-way at the same time, so it kind of evens out.
Yeah, they did because they kept doing the same shit with the women's thing. They kept honey dicking it, and then you're fucking disrespecting Io, who you made champion. And I love Io, but I'm like, did you even need to make her champion in the first place? For that, you didn't need to make her champion, and make her look like a fucking joke. Like making her look transitional as fuck, and I don't like it. Like and then even with the Cody and Cena stuff, like they had that great segment, but then even like the peak of that heel turn, like you could objectively debate it, saying like, oh, has it still been great or has it been bad? Like it's like he cut the same promo twice. Then they had to finally face to face. So he's only been on TV 3 times since that.
Well, it's going to be 4 because he's going to be on the
4
SmackDown
next week. Yeah, so then there's going to be 4 next week, and you hope they do something there. But even with that, it's kind of like you could even debate that. Like to see his heel turn was like, oh shit, fine. And then it kind of quiet down after that. And then The Rock is just doing the Rubik's Cube thing. He don't give a shit. He was watching another show last night. Like he don't give a shit.
He wasn't even watching the show. He's not concerned.
Like I ain't gonna be there, so I don't give a fuck.
He's like, what the fuck do I care about that shit? I'm not gonna be there. I'm not gonna be involved. So
it's like such a random fucking video. Like you're playing, you're using a Rubik's Cube while wearing a New Japan shirt. Like, bro, like
so different.
Yo,
he's so different. I love him. I love the way.
It's funny though. It's entertaining as fuck, but it's just funny. Like what? So random on a SmackDown.
Well, let's talk about a show that's probably worse booked than the 2 other WWE shows that we talked about this week. WWE NXT. They did 683.
So y'all can have at this one.
Oh man,
they did 683,000 viewers this week. The show featured Jordynne Grace and Jada Parker going to a no contest when Stephanie Vaquer became involved in the action. This led to the post match where Giulia returned to fight off Grace and Parker until she then laid out Vaquer with a Northern Lights bomb to set up Vaquer versus Giulia versus Grace versus Parker in a fatal 4-way for the NXT Women's Championship at Stand and Deliver. Yes, the NXT Women's Champion that they had to take the title off of is still going to be in a matchup, but a 4-way for the title at Stand and Deliver. Make that make sense. You also had Ethan Page. He came out and laid out Ricky Starks after several different challengers came out to challenge Ricky for the North American Championship, including Eddie Thorpe, Wesley, and Lexis King. It sets up a 4-way for next week's NXT to determine who will face Ricky Saints for the NXT North American Championship at Stand and Deliver. Fraxium picked up a victory over Swipe Right in a super fun tag team matchup. Sol Ruka defeated Jasmine Nix to qualify for the 6-way ladder match for the NXT Women's North American Championship at Stand and Deliver, while Izzy Dane of the Calling also qualified by picking up a win over Ren Sinclair. Dark State picked up a victory in their debut over Javon Evans, Oba Femi, and Trick Williams after Oba and Trick brawled during the matchup. Post-match, the D'Angelo family challenged Dark State to meet them in the parking lot next week on NXT. Josh, I know you want to talk about it, so what did you think about Giulia returning literally 3 weeks after she lost the NXT Women's Championship?
I mean, I've been saying it. HBK, it's not a great booker. That's how
I've been saying this week. I
Yo.
think he's on drugs again.
Yo, like none of it makes sense. None of it makes sense. And I think for me, like what I was saying about NXT, which is like it's a WWE problem within itself, but I've noticed this with NXT and people kind of ignore it, is where with NXT they kind of care more about the moments than like moving progressively with your shows, like moving forward with what you're doing. And I say that because of Roadblock, right? They wanted to stack up Roadblock, right? A TV thing. They wanted to stack it up because it was at the MSG theater, and ended up being a great show for them. But then there's like the follow up after that. They always tend to kind of fall off. They always tend to do shit like this. You obviously wanted a moment. You gave Stephanie 2 belts, and your excuse was, "Oh, Giulia is banged up. She's injured." And then it's like, "Oh no, but she'll be fine. She'll be back by Stand and Deliver." Why did you take the title off of her a month, less than a month? She's back. She was doing house shows again too. Why did you take the title off of her? And this was supposed to be like your big signing too. Remember, they're hyping her up for almost like a year and a half. Like, oh, Giulia is on her way. She's leaving Japan and she's gonna sign with WWE. And to me, the way they've been using her is like she's been having great outings, but obviously, Stephanie, it seems like they see more with Stephanie than they see with Giulia at this point.
Most definitely.
And I've noticed it for a while, but the fact that they did this booking, even the Fatal 4-Way, like for one, we're not even talking about her dropping the title last week. They made her drop the title. She was the double champion. She defended it, and then she's vacating the title because the fucking GM said she's vacating it. Wasn't even her choice. It was the GM's choice. Hey, that match needs to be a ladder match. The belt needs a ladder match, and Stephanie can't do it, right? And then all of a sudden, Giulia comes back, and then wait, let's have a 4-way match. Like let's do this. And then even with the 4 ladies, right? Like I know a lot of people were giving Jada Parker shit for this too, because they're like, why is she in the ring with them? People like Jada Parker, and she's learning, but then it's like you put her with Grace, Vaquer, and Giulia. Okay, cool. She ain't winning for shit, but okay, that's what you wanted. It's fucking weird. The whole thing was weird. It's bizarre. It doesn't make any sense. But this is HBK. This is a textbook HBK booking that I've noticed for a while. Like they care about the moments, they care about whatever they got at the moment, and this is no different because Stand and Deliver is next weekend, and it was kind of just like, oh wait, it's kind of like fucking like doing your last minute homework. Hey, let's get shit together last minute. Did you not guys realize you have a show? Like
no, this is a last minute like final. You have a final exam and you're studying it for it at the last minute. This is the biggest show of the year that has been haphazardly booked.
And to me, it's just like the whole thing again. Like I'm just like Roadblock still could have been a good show, but the fact that you put all your eggs in the basket for that, and then wait, we have a Vegas show. Wait, that's a bigger crowd. That's a bigger arena. That's a bigger gate. And to me, it just doesn't make it. Does the whole thing? Looking at it, doesn't make any fucking sense. Like it really doesn't.
But on one final note before we finish up with WWE this week, in the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter, it was reported that Scott D'Amore claimed Jordynne Grace took a deal for less money than she was previously making to join WWE and bet on herself. This would seem to suggest that she was making less in WWE than she did in TNA, but Fightful Select reports that while overall Grace is making less in WWE, that's not because she has a lesser deal. Her WWE salary is at a main roster level and more than she made for her TNA contract. However, between her outside ventures, being OnlyFans, and brand deals and her salary, she was making less in WWE. It should be noted that Grace was a millionaire already before she ever signed with WWE, so it was worth the betting on herself because she was already paid, basically.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
That is all from WWE this week. We got to move quickly over to New Japan Pro Wrestling, who had Windy City Riot from Chicago, Illinois last night. The show featured Konosuke Takeshita defeating Hiroshi Tanahashi in an excellent main event that served as the final match in the U.S. for the Ace. Post-match, Takeshita showed respect to Tanahashi, while the Ace paid respect to the Chicago crowd. It was an emotional, gripping matchup. You go out of your way to see it if you haven't already. Meanwhile, Hiroki Goto beat Shota Umino in a solid semi-main event to retain the IWGP World Heavyweight title. Zack Sabre Jr. defeated David Finlay in a very good matchup. Los Ingobernables de Japón beat Rocky Romero and El Fantasmo in a pretty fun tag team matchup. The world-class Wrecking Crew, they retained the strong openweight tag team titles against the Intergalactic Jet Setters in a good bout. TJP beat Tom Lawler in a decent little opener, while Mina Shirakawa versus Azumi in a number one contenders match for the Strong Women's Championship went to a double countout. Later in the show, Veda Scott announced that Mercedes will defend the NJPW Strong Women's Championship against both Mina and Azumi at Resurgence on May 9th. So that's a hell of a matchup for Resurgence next month. Speaking of the event, the Young Bucks appeared in a video message to issue a challenge to the Bullet Club War Dogs and teased that they will be coming with some old Too Sweet Friends, which many people believe is a teaser for the return to New Japan of the Good Brothers. And finally, Tomohiro Ishii defeated Gabe Kidd in a great Iron Man matchup in sudden death overtime to win the NJPW Strong Openweight Championship. We will talk much, much more about Windy City Riot on Monday here on the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel. It will be myself, Sanal, and Jay News talking all about it, so join us for that. New Japan Pro Wrestling also announced this week the competitors for the Best of Super Juniors 32 tournament, which takes place on May 10th and ends on June 1st. The names include El Desperado, Rasuke Taguchi, Yo Master Wato, Kushida, Kevin the Jet Knight, Ninja Mac, Kosei Fujita, Robbie Eagles, Hiromu Takahashi, Bushi, Francisco Akira, Taiji Ishimori, Clark Connors, Sho, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, Dragon Daya of Dragon Gate, Mao of DDT, Nick Wayne of AEW, and a mystery competitor from CMLL. I will go to you first, Josh. Any favorite that you got for this year's Best of Super Juniors tournament?
I don't have one yet, but I'll probably think of one. But I like the card. I like to have Nick Wayne in it. Kevin Knight. I like those. I don't have a favorite yet.
I'm going with Francisco Akira of United Empire. He came up short against El Desperado in March, so I think he should probably be the one to be one of the favorites. I had him go into the finals last year, so I'll pick him this year to win. Top guy, JJ?
That sounds like a good one.
There's a lot of fucking people.
Yeah, that's why I was like, yo, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know.
I'm just gonna stay home. I'm gonna just throw a dart in the sky and just say Kevin Knight, even though I know he damn sure ain't gonna win. But there's just too many people to absorb right now.
You never know. He got 2 contracts, so you never know.
That shit look like a Street Fighter character select screen.
I like it.
I do too. I dig it. Fightful Select reports that TJP is currently a free agent and is working his NJPW dates without a contract. NJPW offered TJP a new deal, but at this time he has declined. There is said to be no hard feelings between him and NJPW. The company requested that Perkins be part of the Best of Super Juniors tournament, but he has declined that as well. They had hoped to give him a prominent role in the tournament, and he still is set to appear at a few NJPW events, including last night's Windy City Riot. So we'll see. We'll update you on that whenever we get an update. And then finally, you had TNA Impact this week. The show featured NXT's Ethan Page kicking off the show to cut a promo about the Rebellion 3-way for the TNA World title against Frankie Kazarian and Joe Hendry. Kazarian interrupted to talk some trash to All Ego. Later in the show, TNA World Champion Joe Hendry provided an update on his torn rotator cuff, and he said that he will compete at Rebellion. This led to Kazarian interrupting and Hendry announcing that he will team with TNA Knockouts World Champion Masha Slamovich to face Kaz and Tessa Blanchard at TNA Unbreakable next Thursday in Las Vegas. Ace Austin beat Mustafa Ali via disqualification. Post-match, Ali and the Great Hands attacked Ace until Mike Santana made the save. Then Ali and the Great Hands got into their car to escape, only for Mike Santana to take over as the driver and kidnap John Skyler to make an example of him after Ali made his friend relapse last week. Yes. This storyline is awesome. I'm sorry. I'll take all the people making people relapse in wrestling storylines. I'm here for it.
Oh my God.
It was announced that Santana will team with the Hardys to verse Mustafa Ali and the Nemeths next Thursday at Unbreakable. Then you also had Moose picked up a victory over Cody Deaner to retain the X Division Championship. The System beat the Rascals, while Eddie Edwards picked up a victory over Steve Macklin in a solid main event. Leon Slater picked up a win over Ryan Nemeth, thanks in large part to a distraction from the Hardys. And AJ Francis beat Sami Callihan and Mance Warner to advance to the TNA International Championship Tournament Final at Unbreakable. And it was announced that Mance Warner and Sami Callihan will face in a barbed wire massacre matchup coming up at Unbreakable next Thursday in Las Vegas. Finally, one final news note from TNA. Former TNA executive Gail Kim has been announced by NWA to be taking part in the Crockett Cup event. She will be on hand to sign autographs and meet fans. At this time, she isn't expected to wrestle at the show. That show takes place on May 17th and will also feature an appearance from Natalya of WWE. So we've made it to the end of our show and Miss Chrissy Love's favorite time of the show, best and worst of the week, as well as moment of the week and matches of the week. I will start with you, Josh. Who had the best week? Who had the worst week this week?
Best week, I'm gonna give it to my guy Kevin Knight. I'll give it to him. Worst, I gotta give it to John Moxley.
That's also fair. JJ?
Wow. Best of the week. That's tough. You know what? I'm a rock with you, Josh, because I was very happy. Like, that was probably the happiest I was during the entire week of wrestling, was seeing not only Kevin Knight compete against Will Ospreay, but then following up with that awesome 8-man 400K match on Dynamite. So yeah, I'll go with Kevin Knight as well. Worst of the week was the entire episode of SmackDown.
Also fair. Best of the week, I'm going to go with best of the week for Hiroshi Tanahashi having that great matchup on 1.5 knee against Takeshita at Windy City Riot, his final match in the US for New Japan. And I'm going to go with Kevin the Jet Knight being 2 contract jet. And worst of the week, y'all are blaming the child when it's really the parent that deserves the blame.
I was waiting for it. That's why
is Tony Khan. It's Tony Khan.
That's why I didn't pick him. I already knew. That's why I didn't pick him.
Yeah, SmackDown was worse than Dynasty. Sorry.
But ironically, moment of the week though, it's the moment that got talked about the most this week. It's the Young Bucks return. Moment of the week doesn't have to be for good or bad. It has to be the moment that's talked about the most. So that's the moment of the week. JJ.
I guess. Yeah. I guess you're gonna have. Yeah. If it's that is what makes the moment of the week, then yeah, it's got to be the Young Bucks fucking up an entire pay-per-view.
Josh?
Same thing. Young Bucks returning, for good or for worse.
And then we have matches of the week. I got 10 this week, of course, because there was
Jesus.
a lot of
Oh,
wrestling.
yeah, that's
I do.
normal.
I always do.
Normal.
I always do. I always do.
Said-
Honorable mentions, though. Statlander versus Rosa. Lyra versus Bailey from Raw. Number 10 for me this week, the Callis family versus Tomohiro Ishii and Powerhouse Hobbs from Collision. Number 9, the Death Riders versus Rated FTR from Dynasty. Number 8, the Americano Made versus the LWO from Monday Night Raw. Number 7, Team Osprey versus Team Ricochet from Dynasty. Number 6, Timeless Tony Storm versus Megan Bayne from Dynasty. Number 5, Gabe Kidd versus Tomohiro Ishii from Windy City Riot. Number 4, Kyle Fletcher versus Mark Briscoe from Dynasty. Number 3, Will Ospreay versus Kevin the Jet Knight from Dynasty. Number 2, Konosuke Takeshita versus Hiroshi Tanahashi from Windy City Riot. And number 1, Kenny Omega, Ricochet, and Speedball from Dynasty. Top guy JJ.
I'm just gonna see if I could just name off a few. So I got Megan Bayne and Tony Storm. I have and this is probably gonna be in no particular order because I'm gonna go definitely triple threat with Kenny, Speedball, and Ricochet. I'm gonna go with the LWO and who the fuck the LWO for in that? Oh,
Americano Made.
Americana Made. Yeah, Americana Made. I'm also gonna go with the opener with Kevin Knight and Will Ospreay. I am gonna go with the 400K match. And I think that's 5, but there is something that I'm not mentioning that I'm gonna. I did like the Thunder Rosa. I mean, not the Thunder Rosa. The Mercedes and Giulia Hart match. I did give that more props than I was originally gonna give it. But yeah, I got to show a little bit of love to that Mark Briscoe and Kyle Fletcher match. That shit was fucking fire, bro.
Yeah. Josh.
Number 5, I got Fletcher versus Briscoe. Man, because Mark always he always shows up, man. Every time I hear he has a match, I'm like, I look forward to because he always shows the fuck up, and I'm happy for him. Number 3, I said number 3. Number 4, I'm gonna go with Tony Storm versus Megan Bayne. That was a really good match. Number 3, I'm gonna go with Americana Made versus LWO. Number 2, I'm gonna go with Will Ospreay versus Kevin Knight. And number 1, I'm gonna go with the triple threat: Speedball, Kenny Omega, Ricochet from Dynasty.
We're all in agreement there. Oh, good shout, Safet. Should have gave it to Tony Hinchcliffe. You're probably right. Maybe more than Tony Khan.
Yeah, you know what? I couldn't say his. He was worse or because I still don't remember his fucking name.
To be fair. But that is all from us this week on the Flagship Podcast. Join me and Josh will be going live shortly hereafter for members of the channel. Hit the join button and become a member. We'll probably do 10-15 minutes answering any questions that you got the rest of the week. But thank you to Top Guy JJ for joining us today for your monthly visit to the Flagship. I want to give you the floor. Let everybody know where they can follow you on social media and when they might see you again.
Tru Heel _ Top Guy JJ 83 at Instagram. If that's what it is, I'm getting old. And on the YouTube channel. You can catch me here for the Flagship. I think 3 weeks from now, which would be May 3rd. So that would be my next appearance on the Flagship show would be May 3rd. And on the Rated Raw review, I should be on there for Tuesday. I will probably not be there the following Tuesday because I'm having like a small, very, very minor like procedure, but I'm probably going to be out for like a couple days. So I'm probably going to miss the one in 2 weeks, but I'll be on the one on Tuesday. But yeah, it's been fun. It's like a WrestleMania size Tru Heel Heat. But this was fun and got to get off a lot of fucking venom and sensitive people disgust me still. as you can tell. So yeah, if you're sensitive, go fuck
Appreciate the
yourself.
same energy. Appreciate the same energy, sir. But Josh, let everybody know where they can follow you on social media, sir.
You can follow me, JMPunk321, Twitter and Instagram, and then I'll be back next week for THH. We're doing it on Saturday, right? Because of WrestleMania.
Yes, we'll be starting probably at 10 a.m. Eastern.
Sounds
10:05.
good. 10:05. All right, yeah, because I also have plans right after that, so it's perfect timing. 10 o'clock is a perfect time for me.
Yes, because we'll be starting earlier because we got two watch parties next Saturday for NXT Stand and Deliver, as well as WWE WrestleMania 41 Night 1. So join us for that. We got a jam-packed week for WrestleMania week. We'll be live on Monday for a Windy City Riot review with me, J News, and Sanal. We got a preview for Progress Show in Las Vegas. Drop it on that day as well. Rated Raw review on Tuesday. Wednesday, we got our NXT Stand and Deliver preview. I'll be joined by Kate of Fightful for that. On Thursday, we got our WWE WrestleMania 41 preview. I'll be joined from Maggie from Fightful for that one as well. Friday, we're switching days. Friday will be AE Ramble, where I have asked Jimmy Macaram to watch both Dynamite and Collision. So we'll see if he watches his first Collision since CM Punk was running the show. And Saturday, we got the Flagship podcast, 2 watch parties. Sunday morning, we'll be doing our WrestleMania Night 1 review and our WrestleMania Night 2 watch party on that evening. And then on Monday, we got our WrestleMania Night 2 review. So a jam-packed week. We'll have a posting on our community tab for everything. Follow me on the Twitter machine at Tru Heel SB3. Follow the gang, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at Tru Heel Heat. We appreciate y'all for joining us today and hope you join us next week as we will be joined, Josh, by a very special guest, Dutch Mantel. Dutch Mantel will be joining us live for our WrestleMania Go Home edition of the Flagship. So join us for that. Like this video, share it with your friends, and join us live for our Q&A. If you're a member right now, dropping on the channel. But until next time, this has been Tru Heel Heat 324 Elite Tone Deaf Riders. We are signing off until next time.
Peace.